Hello, everybody. How are we doing? I hope we are live on YouTube any minute. And yeah, thanks for joining us. I thought this was a bit of a spontaneous thing, but we've got this fantastic update coming live from NAB, and I think that the stream is about to start. So what I'll do is, in a second, let me switch over and share my screen. And that's not what I want. There we go. Here we go. We're going to watch this together. We've got some cool shots being shown that have been recorded and edited with all cool stuff from Blackmagic Design. So that's really cool. So let's have a little look and see what we're watching together. Thor, Love and Thunder. Thanks for joining the stream, everybody. If you are joining the stream, great to see you. Here's Grant. See if I can get some audio on here. We've just got going. Let's see if I can bring in some audio here, because the audio doesn't seem to be working. Hope you can hear me if you can hear me. Hopefully that mic's a bit better now. Should have a proper mic on. I think I'm going to put some headphones on, see if that helps. There we go.
4 super source DVEs and the 2 general DVEs, this switcher actually has 6 DVEs in total. So it's really quite amazing. So this new 2ME Constellation 4K is available now, and it'll be priced at $3,795. It's a really good match for the Blackmagic Studio cameras because those cameras are actually Ultra HD. So this switcher matches the resolution of our cameras now. So it's really good to have this model. But we didn't stop there. We've also developed a 4K model of the 1ME switcher. It's called ATEM 1ME Constellation 4K. It has exactly the same features as the ATEM and 1ME Constellation HD, but it works in both HD and Ultra HD. So I'll bring that out and show you. You can see the front panel is the same as the 1ME HD. See, it's got the talkback built in, plus the control buttons on the switcher, the LCD for the menus and the ATEM settings. So I'll have a look back. It's a little bit deeper than the HD model. Fits in the universal rack shelf. So it's got the 10 12G SDI connectors as the inputs. Each input still has the standards converter. Plus you've got 6 12G SDI outputs, and each one of those is independent. It's got a single multi-view, but the multi-view is just as powerful as the HD model and the other models of the Constellation. So it does the 4, 7, 10, and 13, and 16 views. Also, I forgot to mention the software, which actually applies to all the Constellations, which is we've been working on.
Hopefully we're good. Just wanted to
multi-view border color.
Down a little bit
Plus each view can have the meters, the input label, and the framing guide set independently, so you can turn them on and off. These new models have all that new software.
You should hopefully be able to hear me if you can.
So
just obviously
on the 4K models, the multi-view is actually also Ultra HD, which I forgot to mention. And even on this small 1ME model, you still get really powerful Constellation features. You've got the bounce down audio inputs.
Having issues with
You've got the industry standard RJ12 talkback
you never know
connector.
what's going to go right or go wrong, but anyway, let's dive back into the live stream.
It also supports SDI talkback, which uses channels 15 and 16. And we have the engineering talkback on channels 13 and 14. Plus the panel cost and the switcher cost. Now the ATEM software control is very powerful, but pushing buttons on a bit of software is actually a bit tricky, especially the way you do live production. So we wanted to fix that. So we developed a new low-cost ATEM control panel. It's called ATEM Micro Panel, and it's designed to work with the ATEM software control. So let me show you. I'll bring it out. Here it is here. Actually, I'll move these switches back a little. Put it there, so if you guys can grab a shot of that. So it works with the computer running the ATEM software control, and it connects via Bluetooth. It's got a really big internal battery, and also connects via USB, of course. It charges via USB. But it's got the same high-end buttons as our biggest panels have, so it makes it very nice to use. So the settings are all still done in the software in the palettes, but the panel here does the switching. And so the overall layout is actually, if you notice, it's quite similar to our other panels. It's got the 2 sets of 10 input buttons there, one row's for program and the other row's for preview. It has it even has a shift button for the input buttons. It's got the 4 upstream key buttons. It's actually got a macro button. It's got transition control down there. And we have a fader we use for manual controls. That makes it very low profile, so it's really portable. And it has 2 sets of downstream key buttons. But it actually has something else that's really exciting. It has the 4 ME selection buttons. So it'll literally control a 4 ME switcher. So let me show you how it works. So I've got it there if you guys can get a shot of that. And I'll just go across. Now we need to open the ATEM software control, it'll automatically connect. So I'll do that. So there I am. And you can see it's lit up. Now it's controlling the 2 ME switcher I got in the rack over here. So I can come along here and select inputs and on the preview row as well. So it's really nice. Now there's, I can do a transition. There it is there. It's pretty cool. Now there's a fader for the manual transition control, which I can control here. And there's a shift key, so you can get to all 20 buttons on the on this switcher here, on this larger switcher. We can also switch MEs, so I can switch across to the second ME, which is, because this is a 2 ME switcher, it's a 2 ME switcher, Constellation 4K in the rack here. So now this is ME2, so I can switch back. So you can see I can control some really big switches. And you can enable the keys as well. You have a key control down here. So it's pretty cool. Now it also supports macros. I mentioned before it had a macro key. And there it is there. So you can see. Now you just press and hold the macro button while you select the switch input number. Because obviously you don't want to leave those lights on with a battery because it'll run the battery down the more lights you have on. But you can see how really easy it is to use. It's really nice. And it solves really the main problem of software control, that you want to have a switch, or you want a switcher panel with buttons you can feel. And so it's much nicer than just sort of stabbing away at the software buttons. So the new ATEM micro panel will be available in June. It'll be priced at $675. And I think it'll be a great solution for people who need like a true switcher control but have a tight budget, or if you need something really portable. So it has the really nice buttons, and we didn't save any money by using cheap buttons, but I also love that it can control a 4 ME switcher. Now our switches are very affordable, so I think this panel will really help. Now I wanted to talk about some thoughts about SMPTE 2110. You know, it's currently used by high-end broadcasters, and they have IT departments, and so it's easy for them to use. But that's kind of one of my main concerns about 2110, is it's too complex, and it's also too expensive. So at NAB this year, we wanted to work to fix that. Now we want more people to be able to use 2110 IP video. Now 2110 is bidirectional, so I think live production people could really use it, but they don't have IT departments, so it has to be simple to use. And I think if we can fix these problems, everybody can benefit. So let's first talk about the cost issue. Now, we recently introduced a product called Blackmagic 2110 IP Converter 3x3G. It's a bit of a mouthful, but it has 3 channels of HD video. Now, it uses standard 10G Ethernet cables, like 6G, Cat6 cables, sorry. And Cat6 cables are very cheap. 10G Ethernet switches are cheap. 10G Ethernet actually also supports power and Ethernet. But 10G Ethernet's already very common, and also 10G Ethernet's it's just so available. So I think using 10G Ethernet's a really good idea. But what about Ultra HD? You know, to do Ultra HD, we'd have to go to 25 gigabit Ethernet, and that's optical fiber only, and that would be very costly. So what we really want to do is do Ultra HD down a 10G Ethernet cable. And we already know this works great for HD, and it also works great for Ultra HD at 30 frames a second and under. So what about the high frame at Ultra HD? So to do that, we need to use some video compression, and we didn't want to use an off-the-shelf codec for this because they have really high license fees, and they've also got a lot of latency. And latency is a big problem.
So I've just turned Grant down for a little bit just to see if we're still hopefully all listening and following along. Hopefully we are, and thanks for joining me. As I say, obviously he's talking a little bit at the minute about some of the more sort of broadcast switches and some of the hardware that they're obviously announcing at NAB, which is really cool. Anyone interested in this sort of stuff out of interest? Does anyone kind of use this stuff regularly, or are we all here for anything else tonight? I mean, certainly I'm here to see if we've got any Davinci Resolve updates. I mean, when they put up earlier that they were going to be talking about broadcast post-production, obviously post-production really does tend to sort of make us all believe that it might be something to do with Davinci Resolve, so that'd be great. We're currently on 18.6.6, I think, if that's right. So actually we've got, you know, to be quite honest, you know, we're at a point in the update cycle where we might see a new one. We might see 19, who knows? It'd be great to see if it was. And let me know in the comments, and I can try and get back to you while Grant's talking. If you've got any questions about Davinci Resolve, I'll try and answer those. If you have any kind of thoughts on what could be the updates today, what we're going to see, what would you like to see in Davinci Resolve, that'd be awesome in terms of maybe what you're thinking. I'm thinking that maybe AI is going to be quite a big thing. I think they're going to keep bringing that in and sort of building on the tools that we've got already, like the video transcription, particularly obviously has been a newish sort of one. I think there'll be some other interesting developments to that as well, because bear in mind that's still quite early on technology. Dimitar's here for Resolve. Yeah, Quackers, nice. What's your name, Quackers? Put your name in the comments so I know what to call you, but I mean, otherwise I'll call you Quackers, but yeah, Davinci, cool. Yeah, as I say, I'm here probably for Davinci, but having said that, outside of Davinci, I'd definitely like to see some updates to the camera app. I've been using that quite a lot, so that'd be really cool. I'll dial back into Grant for a minute so we can all hear.
Monitoring side first. So a very common need is for monitoring. For that, we have a new Blackmagic 2110 IP Mini, Blackmagic 2110 IP Mini, a high-peter HDMI. Now, what it allows you to do is monitor 2110 video on any HDMI TV or monitor. So let me bring the product out. Here it is here. So you can see it's nice and small, so you can mount it behind a TV. There's the HDMI side there, if you can get a shot of that. Now, it supports all HD and Ultra HD standards up to 2160p 60. And it has a 10G RJ45 Ethernet cable, which I'll show around the other side there. Now, it powers from the 10G Ethernet, but it actually includes a DC power supply as well. Now, it's a true SMPTE 2110 device. It'll work on large 2110 systems, but there's a utility for Mac and Windows that lets you configure all those 2110 IP settings. So all the settings are automatic, though, if you connect it direct. So it's a tiny converter that's very powerful. It works on big systems as well as just being plugged point to point. So I think this is a really great low-cost solution for 2110 monitoring. Now, the new Blackmagic 2110 IP Mini IP to HDMI will be priced at $295. It'll be available in May. Now, another big need is live cameras. So we've designed an SDI model that's perfectly designed for cameras, although it works with any SDI gear, really. Now, this model is called Blackmagic 2110 IP Mini Bi-Direct 12G. So let me show you. I'll bring it out. First, let me get rid of this.
One of the things I absolutely love about Blackmagic Design is how they bring out this great hardware, and some of it is very affordable. It's very accessible for a lot of people. It's just a brilliant way of doing it, because it means that it brings so many more creative people into the world and into the marketplace, and gives them access to products and services and hardware that actually helps them then move on to the greater levels as they go. You haven't got to put a whole lump of smash my watch on the desk. Haven't got a whole load of money up front to kind of buy your way into an ecosystem, which is great. And as a result, it definitely works, because Davinci Resolve is free, right? And then you buy Studio, and then you get an editor keyboard, you get a camera, you get all the sorts of kit that goes with it, and it all just works really well together. So let me know, guys, in the comments as well if you've got other Blackmagic kit outside of just Davinci Resolve. If you're using any cameras, maybe the mobile app. Also be interested to know on that sort of stuff.
And also it has talkback controls. So if you look down there, you can see there's talkback headset volume controls and a push-to-talk button. So it's pretty cool. So it really has everything you need for a camera. Now, this new model, make sure I don't put it upside down. This new model, the Blackmagic, is called the Blackmagic 2110 IP Mini Bi-Direct 12G, and it'll be priced at $365. And that'll be available in May. Okay, so the next live production problem we want to solve is handling presenters. Like when a presenter is giving a talk to an audience, they often have a computer with slides on it, and that computer is often connected to a projector. Well, actually, it has to be connected to a projector. They also have microphones locally on the podium. So we wanted to have a solution for this. It's called the Blackmagic 2110 IP Presentation Converter. Let me show you. I'll bring it out. Let me just make some space here. Here it is. Now, it's quite different to our normal converters, because it's kind of a bundle of different conversions all in the one design. But for presenters, they kind of need all these. So the front's similar to our Ternix Mini converters, but you have the LCD for the settings. Plus there's a headphone connection and speaker. But we'll have a look at the back. That's where it gets really interesting. You can see there. Now there's a HDMI input to connect to the computer, and it looks like a second monitor to the computer. Now there's actually a standards converter on input to that, so you don't have to worry about what the computer settings are. The HDMI will just convert the video coming in and send it out. So people can just walk up and plug their laptop in. But next to that, you'll notice we have a USB-C connection. That's actually also a video input. It's basically like having a USB to HDMI adapter built into the converter. So you just plug in the USB and you get video connection. And what's really good too is that the USB will charge your computer. So you don't have to worry about any of the battery running low on the computer. You get both video and power from the converter, and all in that single USB-C connection. Now we also have a HDMI output, that's for the projector. So the presenter's slides can be sent up through the converter up to the projector. But some projectors don't handle all the video standards. Some of them are pretty
This is a super cool product, I think, that he's talking about here. I don't know if you've ever been to an event or ever had to present a convention or a talk or anything. The number of times you've got multiple speakers come up and they've got a laptop and it's all about, oh, how do I plug this in so it feeds back to the AV that feeds the projector. This sounds pretty cool.
Have the simply 2110 IP video connection on there. Now this converter can be powered from the 10G.
I don't have a huge need for it, but they do well at making me want these things, which is quite fun.
It powers both the converter and the laptop, so that's pretty nice. And another powerful feature of 2110 IP is it's the Ethernet connection is bidirectional. So what this actually means is you can switch the HDMI output and the 12G SDI output to be a return feed coming into this into the converter from the IP input, not the local HDMI or USB input. Now this is really nice because it means you can run a projector from the switcher output, and the switcher output operator can decide what feeds the projector. Often it would be the computer being fed back, but if they're unplugging the computer, maybe it could be a title slide or something like that. So I think that's a really powerful feature of 2110 IP video. Now we also have some XLR audio outputs if you want to feed like a local PA speakers from the switcher, because the switchers have powerful audio. Plus there's actually some XLR microphone inputs and they have fan and power and they're for local microphones. So you can see this has a lot of features. It's so flexible. So I think it's a really great solution for all types of presenter needs. It's a whole lot of different conversions all in there that really solve that problem specifically, or all the problems you have with presenters. Now, the new Blackmagic 2110 IP presentation converter will be priced at $845. So it'll also be available in May. So next we have a 4-channel rack converter. And this can be used to add like 2110 IP channels to an ATEM switcher, like we've got one on the rack over here. Now this new model is called Blackmagic 2110 IP converter 4x12G. I'll bring it out. As I was saying, we've got one over in the rack here, but here's one here I have. So this will convert, well, I'll show you the back actually. That's probably where the more interesting stuff is. So you can see there, it'll convert and power 4 2110 IP devices. So it's bidirectional. So it actually has 4 10G RJ45 Ethernet sockets on it. So you can connect 4 devices, but it's got 4 12G SDI outputs that work in HD and Ultra HD up to 2160p. And it's got 4 12G SDI HD and Ultra HD inputs that work up to 2160p. So this could be like for camera feeds coming out and like return program feeds. Now it's got 400 watts of power over Ethernet power. So it supports like 4 Blackmagic Studio cameras. But you'll notice what's interesting on the back is it's got one 12G SDI program return feed. Now what that allows you to do is if you don't have any inputs in the individual inputs, then you can plug one return video feed into the bottom connector and it'll feed all the cameras. So it's pretty cool. It's actually like 4 of our studio converters in a single rack unit. So this new Blackmagic 2110 IP converter 4x12G will be priced at $1,995. As with all these prices, they can change depending on government duties and taxes. Let me just put this down here. Position that nicely there. Alrighty, so, and this converter will be available in June. So now I wanted to talk about some solutions we have for optical fiber. Obviously, if you want to run long distances, you need to use optical fiber. Now, these models have SFP sockets for optical fiber adapters. So you can add an optical fiber module that you want to put in there. Now, you can't power them over optical fiber because that doesn't work. But one thing we have done with our products, so our IP video products will also work with 3G, 6G, and 12G SDI optical modules. So you get optical SDI, depending on what you want to do. So we have 3 optical models.
We get some love for Grant, by the way. I think Grant's doing a great job. He does all of these. And I do personally really enjoy watching his live stream. I think he's great. Especially because he has all of these different projects or things that they've been working on and things to announce. And I don't know if he's using an auto cue. I don't think he is, but it's pretty awesome to think, you know, obviously, yeah, he's the CEO, but he knows all of this stuff into out. He doesn't ever, you know, he doesn't put out like, you know, Tim Cook from Apple. He doesn't push out to, you know, another professional who's been heading up that department or anything like that. He does it all himself, which is credit to him, right? So it's also quite nice to have that kind of Aussie twang as well, rather than it always being an American person. So not love to the Americans, of course, but it's great to hear some fantastic guys from the other side of the world talking about these things as well. So we're still on the broadcast section right now. Those of you joining the feed and stream, thank you so much for popping in. I've just lowered Grant's mic just a little bit so that I can just have a little quick chat with you guys. And again, please pop in the comments. Don't be shy. Let me know if there's anything you'd like to know Resolve-wise, anything that you're looking for this particular announcements and these updates that we're getting from NAB. Equally, is anyone going to NAB? Has anyone been to NAB? Love to hear from you about that. I've never been personally myself. I'd love to go. Hopefully at some point I might get to go and maybe even represent Blackmagic Design. So if anyone's watching Blackmagic Design, I'm available obviously to help out, of course. Yeah. Also, tell me what are some of your biggest frustrations with Davinci Resolve right now? I'd love to know if you've been using it recently and been struggling with any sections in particular, any pages in particular are causing you issue or hassle, or are there any areas that we could potentially cover off for new videos as well? That'd be great to hear from you as well on that. So please also let me know if the sound's not quite working or anything like this. It's one of these live reaction video. Obviously, I don't know quite how it's going to go, but we'll see. We'll give it a go. I thought it'd be quite a fun way of sharing this update session with you guys. So
the rack over there, of course, you can get a shot of that, but I've also got one here. It's a wonderful design. You can see it's still got the machine metal front, but now it's in the deep black. It's got that large audio meter and a headphone socket on the front. It's got fantastic big sound for a one rack unit. Really powerful amp, dual subwoofers, all digital processing. Amazing audio meters and really active ballistics.
I'll just bring Mark's comment in for a second. It's sort of hiding in the way, but Mark's just basically said that Davinci's been great. And since you got the speed editor is fantastic, Mark. It's great to hear you got the speed editor and you've been using that. I completely agree. I love the speed editor. I've got mine right here on the desk behind me. Recently I released a video about the editor keyboard, which is sat right here. And since I've been using the editor keyboard, just haven't used the speed editor to any near the degree that I used to, because I find the editor keyboard has pretty much everything I need day to day. And whilst the speed editor does have some wonderful hardware and some fantastic features on it, and actually some that don't feature on the editor keyboard, which is slightly frustrating, is I just don't use it. The reality is I just don't use it anywhere near as much now. I've got the editor keyboard sat in front of me. So in fact, actually, we might potentially see some updates to either the speed editor or the editor keyboard today, which would be amazing as well. I think somewhat frustrating as I've just got the editor keyboard, but it would be great if we could see some new stuff coming through. So yeah, good shout, Mark. I think that's a great idea. Yeah. George has just popped in. New version Resolve. We hope so. We're thinking maybe it will be tonight. Who knows? Or today, depending on where you're watching this, of course. I think it'll be interesting to see. As I said at the beginning, we were 18.66, I think, at the minute. So we're around that kind of, version cycle where things could possibly pop up. We'll see. It'd be nice to see. I mean, NAB tends to bring in a big update of some sort, so we'll hopefully see it tonight. Well, who knows? I'm thinking, I don't know, we might. I've got my fingers crossed, I think, to be fair. Almost certainly what will happen is it will be released in a beta or beta format initially, and then from there, that we'll have various sort of iterations of that before it finally sort of launches sort of fully publicly, which will be great. Just as a note to the guys, obviously, if you're not mid-project, feel free to dive in, download it, have fun. If you've got a spare computer, you can download it too. Do that, but bear in mind, just be mindful if you are mid-project, please, firstly, back up all of your work, back up your project libraries, back up your projects, but do not update mid-project if it's critical, because you don't want it going wrong. And obviously it is a beta project, or a beta release. It could be, if it comes out, it will probably be in beta first. So if it does, don't update mid-project if it's critical to you. Keep working on your stable version for the time being. If you've got a free opportunity to kind of go onto a laptop and download it there and what have you, then great. But if worst case scenario, you must back up things first. I've actually got a video on the channel that talks about how to do that and how to do it properly. So make sure you check that one out.
These products all point to point, and
Thanks for the comments, guys. We've got some comments coming in. Grant's still talking about broadcast and stuff at the minute, so we just muted him down a little bit while we're talking about other Davinci Resolve based stuff. So Dimitar saying he's rather new to Resolve. Started exploring at the time the speed editor went out. Never learned the normal keyboard shortcuts. So yeah, I mean, keyboard shortcuts, Dimitar, absolutely vital, aren't they, to the workflow? Especially if you've been, as you say, got the speed editor and you're using that quite neatly and sort of efficiently. There's almost still no. And that's why, for me, the speed editor, the editor keyboard works so much better, because I've got the normal keyboard in front of me too, so I can use all my familiar keyboard shortcuts, and that's a massive advantage. Obviously, I think if you can be quite quick with a keyboard and a mouse, and then obviously the editor keyboard gives you the fantastic shuttle control over here as well, just like you have on the speed editor. In fact, it's a nicer one. Then you're absolutely going to be away at the races, aren't you? So for me, that was why it was a natural update. But yeah, I mean, the keyboard shortcuts don't take too long to learn, and actually, thankfully, they essentially do list them in the interface as well, so you can sort of start to learn the ones I think that are most commonly used. I have got an Instagram post actually, which you can then obviously find and share or save, I should say. But that's got some of the most commonly used ones that I would use, and obviously I'm sure you'll find the ones that you use most regularly for yours. And again, you can create your own as well, which is great, I think. So you can, if you can't find a keyboard shortcut that you need, or you want it elsewhere, then you can obviously do that. Good question though, good point. Real-time sync for the bins and sound pool. Oh, media web service, that's an interesting question, yeah. Real-time sync for the bins and sound pool. If you want to pop that in the comments and just expand on that a little bit and refresh what you're asking for. We got any possibility of the iPhone camera app being released for Android? That's a good shout. Yeah. I mean, at the moment, obviously for us, Apple users, we've had it sort of for a little while now, probably since the end of last year, I think. And I've been using it quite a lot, although it's been frustrating me a little bit recently, because I've seen the performance on it has been a bit laggy for me, actually. When you kind of pick up the camera app, you open it for the first time, it kind of takes a second. I've also found it doing some odd things in terms of its auto exposure and stuff like that. Also, I'm not a massive fan of the way that you have to select the lenses by releasing your hand and pressing the lens up in the top left corner, and then coming back to choose the lens down at the bottom. I think that could be refined. But yeah, an Android app, I think that's only a matter of time. Maybe tonight, who knows? Fingers crossed, right? Chio Walker, using Davinci Resolve as a hobby. Yeah, usually just update. Yeah. To be honest, I'm going to say this with the caveat of please still back up your stuff before you do it, and don't certainly do it on my say-so. But oh, here we go.
Upgrades are for high-end digital film customers, as well as Blackmagic cloud integration for large customers. We've also been working on some other features for broadcasters. We've always wanted to get broadcasters to have access to these high-end film features, such as color correction and advanced fusion effects. So I think bringing digital film quality to more people is very exciting. It's so creative. So first I want to show you a quick video that outlines some of the new features in Davinci Resolve 19, then I can come back and talk about some of the new broadcast features. So let's run the video.
Right, this is it, guys. Here we go.
Davinci Resolve 19 introduces a tremendous number of new features, including AI-based tools for tracking, noise reduction, and audio effects, text-based timeline editing, the color slice vector grading palette, the film look creator effect, and the Fusion U volume tool for advanced smoke, flames, and explosion VFX. Let's get started. In the edit page, you can now use audio transcription to directly edit the timeline, detect multiple speakers, and replace text. To begin, right-click a clip in the media pool, navigate to audio transcription, choose speaker detection, and then press transcribe. In the transcription window, you'll see text assigned to various speakers as well as timestamps. Click to change the speaker names and reassign dialogue lines as needed. Select sections of text and hit delete to remove associated video and audio in the timeline. Perform full or partial term searches and select replace to correct text. A trim editor is now available in the edit page. Double-click an edit point or choose Trim Editor from the Trim menu to activate it. drag, or use the comma and period keys to refine your edits and transitions, while observing frame count and placement of neighboring clips. Click outside the interface to exit. The Edit page now offers a fixed playhead option found in the Timeline View Options menu on the left side of the toolbar. With this configuration, the playhead remains static while the timeline moves during playback. This can mean less zooming and horizontal navigation when editing.
Yeah, quite like that.
You can now use your numeric keypad to directly enter timecode values for the timeline or viewer.
Hooray!
Use plus and minus symbols to navigate up and down the timeline, or select clips and add or subtract values to move and trim them.
That's huge.
The Inspector's File tab now features a streamlined way of handling audio file properties and skimming audio channels, so you don't need to open the clip attributes.
Oh, that's huge as well.
The Color page introduces another groundbreaking tool, Color Slice. This grading palette allows you to adjust properties of the conventional 6 vectors of an image: red, green, and blue, cyan, magenta, and yellow, plus a dedicated skin vector. You can adjust the density, saturation, and hue of each vector. Saturation uses a subtractive mode, affecting midtones and shadows more than highlights. This allows you to achieve deep, filmic looks. Click the highlight icon in the upper left to preview the vector's key. Use the center slider to adjust the position of the vector slice relative to the color wheel. Adjustment controls across the top of the palette allow you to make changes to the image on a global level. The new IntelliTrack option in the Trackers palette uses Davinci Neural Engine AI to achieve incredible tracking performance. In the Tracker palette, choose IntelliTrack, add tracker points to the image, and move them to trackable areas of the frame. Use the Tracker toolbar controls to track effects or stabilize an image. In the Motion Effects palette, the Spatial Noise Reduction tool has a new Davinci Neural Engine-driven mode, Ultra NR. When you click Analyze, the Luma and Chroma threshold parameters will automatically adjust to best reduce noise based on the sample area. You can resize and reposition the sample area in the viewer to instantly update the threshold parameters and optimally remove digital noise from your image.
That's big.
The new Node Stack feature allows you to break up your overall node graph into separate layers while maintaining a single video pipeline. It's the perfect solution to grades with complex node structures. To activate Node Stack, open Project Settings, go to General Options, and in the Color section, choose the amount of Node Stack layers. You can choose up to 4 layers and customize their labels. Node Stack layers will now be available to all clips in the project. Use the drop-down menu or the dots above the node graph to navigate between the layers. This feature can be combined with versions and group workflows.
Wow.
Clip graph layers are applied sequentially when transferred between stills or clips. Right-click on a thumbnail and select Apply Active Layer to transfer node graphs to one layer at a time. Other grade actions like rippling and resetting can also be done on a per-layer basis. When working in the RGB mixer palette, you now have the option to normalize channels as you adjust them. This means that the luminance of the image will remain constant, giving you some aesthetically pleasing split-tone effects. In the Effects panel, the new Film Look Creator allows you to design cinematic looks through the use of film emulation grading techniques and effects. To begin, drag the Film Look Creator effect onto a node. You will immediately see an underlying film look driven by over 60 internal parameters. As it's scene-driven, it will work with any type of footage as long as it's correctly color managed. You can choose a preset at the top to get started. Use the blend controls to adjust the strength of the underlying color look and spatial film effects. Photometrically set exposure, S-curve contrast and highlights, and fade the shadows and black point of the image. The white balance and tint use chromatic adaptation to realistically shift a scene's light source. Use the skin bias parameter if the previous settings have oversaturated or unbalanced the skin. Subtractive saturation, richness, and bleach bypass offer different ways of adjusting image saturation, while split tone adds opposing color hues to the highlights and shadows of the image. The remaining internal effects imitate the physical aspects of film. Affect light source halation and bloom, introduce grain texture, and add motion with flicker and gate weave. Defocus background is a Davinci Neural Engine effect that uses AI to simulate shallow depth of field in a shot. To begin, generate a mask of your foreground. You can do this within the same node or in a separate node, which you'll connect to the defocus background key input. Control blur amount, saturation, and even color to make your foreground subject pop. The Face Refinement tool has undergone some major improvements to its tracking and feature controls. It can now detect multiple subjects, allows you to fine-tune track points and interpolate keyframes, and offers more facial feature adjustment options. On the Deliver page, you can now disable specific video tracks when setting up a render job. You can now restore backups of deleted timelines. Click the Options menu in the Media Pool and choose Deleted Timeline Backups. USD tools on the Fusion page have received several updates. The new U-Texture, U-Texture Transform, U-Normal Map, and U-Shader nodes give you the ability to import and manipulate textures directly in your USD scene without having to wrap them in a USD file first. These tools add flexibility and control to your USD workflow within the Fusion page. And now Fusion lets you more easily render realistic or stylized smoke, flames, and explosions using the new U-Volume tool. This lets you directly load volumetric VDB files and easily control shading and field mapping. The new Multi-Poly tool makes rotoscoping more efficient by allowing you to create multiple masks in a single node. The list of polygon shapes in the inspector allows you to easily modify, organize, and animate shapes through one simple interface. The shape tools have received several updates. The new S-Text node allows you to add text directly into your shape-based node trees, and the new S-B-Spline node allows you to create B-Spline-based shapes. Also, all shapes now support animation motion paths, and the Shape Tools Style tab now includes opacity controls. The Fusion Tracker now defaults to using IntelliTrack, the new Davinci Neural Engine tracker. Using AI makes tracking easier and more precise, especially when tracking many points. Davinci Resolve 19 introduces a powerful new way of applying Fusion compositions to your clips called referenced composition. This method allows you to reuse your work across multiple clips or even timelines. You create a referenced composition on the Edit page by selecting a single clip or a stack of clips, and then select Create Referenced Composition from the contextual menu. This generates a Fusion referenced composition in the Media Pool. You can enter the Fusion page to start compositing, or double-click the reference composition in the Media Pool to open it. Referenced compositions can be linked to other clips in any timeline by selecting the reference composition, then right-clicking the target clip and selecting Link to Referenced Composition. Any changes you make are applied across all connected clips because they are all referred or linked to the same composition. Reference compositions are an effective and secure way to keep your work backed up and organized, as they live in the Media Pool and will persist even if the original referenced clip is deleted from the timeline. With Davinci Resolve 19, the Fusion page has also received several other important updates, such as support for OpenColor I/O 2.3, support for additional view LUT options and display transforms, and the already powerful Text Plus node has received additional on-screen controls that are available both on the Fusion page and on the Edit page in Fusion Overlay mode. The Fairlight page has exciting new features and effects that enhance your creativity and save you time. Let's start in the inspector, where you'll find 3 new AI-based track effects. Music Remixer is an AI plugin that lets you remix music tracks to fit your show. Start by enabling the Music Remixer on a track containing music. Open the controls and adjust levels for vocals, drums, bass, guitar, and other sources.
Oh my god!
You can change a vocal song into an instrumental track with a single click. Remix the different instrument levels, and even automate changes over time.
Oh my word, boys and girls, that one is massive.
Dialogue Separator uses AI to give you independent level controls for dialogue, background sounds, and ambience, so you can refocus recorded dialogue and lower distracting background sounds while preserving the reverberant field of the room.
When you vote Jamie Woods, you vote a real leader. I remember birthdays.
Or decreasing the excessive ambience while adjusting background sounds as needed over time.
When you vote Jamie Woods, you vote a real leader. I remember birthdays.
This is perfect for improving location recordings in active spaces.
Just what she said.
Will you teach me how to surf?
The Ducker makes it easy to get a good mix automatically by using the levels of one track to manage the levels of another track, without the need for keyframes or automation. In this scene, the music track is overpowering the dialogue. Just enable the Ducker on the music track and choose the dialogue as the source track. Then adjust the amount that you want the music to lower.
Well,
Use the controls to adjust the duck level and response time.
Will you teach me how to surf?
The real-time waveform display shows the level changes in the music whenever dialogue appears as the source track. All the track effects are available in the mixer and the inspector for the selected track. To choose which track effects are visible in the mixer, use the Mixer Options menu. Completely unique to Davinci Resolve, you can now do AI-based audio panning in the Fairlight viewer using IntelliTrack. You can automatically track people or objects and generate precise pan automation. To track an object, mark a range in the timeline and select the track. You'll find the tracker controls in the Fairlight viewer. Here, you can enable auto-tracking and select the pan parameters you want to track. Move the tracker to the object on screen and start the tracker. You'll get fast, intuitive results without the need to spend hours manually creating pan automation to match picture. Here, you can see the finished pan automation curve in the timeline. Or open the pan window and use the new 3D perspective options to visualize the auto-panning movement in relation to the listener. You can also do manual pan tracking directly in the Fairlight viewer. When it comes to immersive audio, version 19 offers improvements in MPEG-H and Dolby Atmos workflows, along with full support for recording, mixing, and delivering ambisonic spatial audio. Ambisonics is a full-sphere immersive surround audio format that can accurately represent the entire sound field around the listener. To begin, in Preferences, navigate to Video and Audio I/O, to Immersive Audio, and enable Ambisonics. Now, you'll have access to the full Ambisonics toolset so you can create ambisonic tracks and buses up to 5th order. Use binaural monitoring to experience immersive sound while working with headphones, or choose a monitoring format that matches your delivery requirements and speaker configuration. The Fairlight Ambisonics Panner displays 2D or 3D spherical panning within the sound field, and can be used to position mono or stereo tracks within the field. Metering options include a single composite bar graph in the mixer and timeline, and energy, sonar, or power displays. Use the Space View scope to monitor high-order ambisonic sources as they relate to other sounds and the room. Or enable 360-degree viewer mapping in the Fairlight viewer for dynamic graphical metering of either intensity or a sonar-style view. There's even support for third-party ambisonic head tracking and plugins. The Fairlight channel EQ has been updated with real-time analyzer and selectable slope for high-pass and low-pass filters.
Right here. They're called Friends.
And sidechain control is now available for capable Fairlight effects and AU and VST plugins. We hope you enjoy exploring these and many more of the new features in Davinci Resolve 19. Thank you for watching.
Very good, Daria.
Okay, so you can see there's a lot of new exciting features there. And some really nice AI stuff too. You know, we use AI for so many things, so it's pretty cool. So now I want to talk about some of the new broadcast features. As I mentioned before, Davinci is mostly about high-end film and television production. But for years, we've been trying to get broadcasters access to digital film quality. It's been progressing really well. Broadcasters have adopted tools such as color correction and fusion effects and Fairlight audio. So I think it's really exciting. But at IBC, we created a bit of a problem. We created the new Blackmagic camera app, and look, it's really amazing. It lets you shoot with an iPhone. It creates proxy files and then syncs live to the Blackmagic Cloud website. So any Davinci Resolve system that connects to that project will see the immediate arrive in real time. So it's pretty cool. And we also added that software to the URSA Broadcast G2. So when you're shooting, the media files just sync to Davinci Resolve right into the bin, and that's globally. So it's pretty cool. In fact, the cameras can literally log into the project and the shots arrive automatically. So it's great, but we caused a problem because now what we need to do is we need to get those shots to air in seconds. Yeah, we don't have a lot of time. If the shots are coming in real time, then we don't want to wait. So this is the sort of problem we created. We have to now think about the post-production side because we want to get those shots on air now. So we need faster editing, and that's what the cut page in Davinci was for. It's basically for news cutting. But there is a couple of other things that have happened over the last few years. We had to slow down the work on the cut page more than I would have liked for the last couple of years because there's been some big changes with computers. Apple released their own custom CPUs, and these have been called the M1, M2, and M3 processors. Now, what's unique about these CPUs is their massive speed. But what's really important for us is they've got built-in hardware codecs. They have ProRes in hardware. So it's like having a whole rack of ProRes encoders inside the CPU. Even the laptops are fast. It's really actually not like nothing we've ever seen. But it did mean that we had to rewrite all the processing in Davinci Resolve. These CPUs process images in a different way, and there were some new developer frameworks we had to adopt. So we realized if we rewrote all the code, it would give us a huge speed boost. And now Davinci Resolve is the fastest app for image processing, but it also means we had to, we got tied up a bit over the last couple of years, and now we've only just got back to working on the cut page. So this year we've got a bunch of new features in the cut page to show because we've been able to get back to it. Now, one of these major features is faster shot selection. Now, if the shots are coming in real time through Blackmagic Cloud, we want to be able to select them and edit really fast. But we noticed something else. Broadcasters don't often have a lot of time to render to a server. They've got to get the story on air now, which means the editor actually has to play to air. So this means we've added a bunch of playout features, and it's kind of a replay system. So what we did is we actually designed a replay system and put it into Davinci Resolve. It's built into Davinci Resolve, which means the replay has the full power of Davinci Resolve included, which means it integrates into a whole post-production workflow team. So it's kind of an exciting combination. You can essentially imagine each replay being converted into a social media post, because the replay system is a great place for this because it's got access to all the cameras. So you get the best camera angles. It's kind of like video tweets. You could even sell advertising in the replays. I mean, who knows what's possible? It's very exciting. You do get a replay system that's also very affordable. But also from designing a replay system, we get a lot of new editing features. So it was kind of an interesting way of thinking about how to improve the editing by doing replay, because replay kind of goes beyond editing. It's not editing, but it goes beyond it. So before I show you these new features, I wanted to show you a new editor panel we've got. I don't really have time to show you a lot of the features it has, but I want to show you some of the new cut page features with it. Now, it's designed to be both a multicam editing panel and a replay panel. It's kind of a combination panel. So it supports Bluetooth, and it has a really large internal battery. It's more like an advanced version of the Davinci Resolve speed editor, but it's got some big improvements. It's faster to use. Now, it's called the Davinci Resolve Replay Editor, and let me show you. I'll bring it out. So here it is here. There it is.
Speed editor.
Now you can see it's quite different to the speed editor, but it does have some similarities. We've spaced out the keys further to help you use it faster. Now, I don't have a lot of time in this video to explain everything. I think you guys can get that there. And I've got some slides I can show. But it has a lot of the great features from the speed editor. So you can see it's got the trim controls here. They've moved down to there. I've got the search tile over here. So it's beautiful. And we've also moved the undo away up to a key by itself, where it's really easy to find. We've also moved the camera buttons along the bottom there in a single line, so they're much easier to use.
8 camera angles.
They're just easy to locate by feel. That was one of the biggest problems with the speed editor. And it really helps speed up multicam editing. Now, we've also got a couple of new, we've got a trim all button over here. Now, what this will do is it'll trim a proportional amount of every timeline clip. So all the clips get trimmed by a proportional amount. So it's really fast. It'll allow you to sort of basically, you push that down and adjust the speed, the search dial. And it's a really fast way of trimming the entire timeline to a specific time. Now, it won't trim the audio track, which means you can actually trim all the video clips to an audio track. So it's really nice. You just press and hold that button, like the other trim controls here, and you use the search dial. Now, we've also got a ripple delete. It's got a dedicated key now, because before it was a double press, which is over here. And we can also change the speed of clips now, which is another thing people wanted from the speed editor. You can do it right from the keyboard. We've got the ability to apply speed changes. And you can use the search dial to move the keyframes around, so that's pretty cool too. Now, we've also got new time keys for faster editing. Now, you can use those keys to add shots into the timeline for specific lengths, so you don't need an out point, because you can just say, I just want 6 seconds. So this keyboard has so many features. I don't really have time, unfortunately, to go through them all. However, I can use the keyboard for an edit, and I can show you how it works by actually doing some editing with it. So let me show you some of the new features on the cut page. So we'll head across. So let's go over. Yeah.
I think he's incredibly brave to do all of this live. You know, how much stuff could potentially go wrong. I'm sure they rehearse a lot of it, but I think it's awesome.
All right, so I've got an overhead camera, so you might be able to look down and see some of the things I'm doing. So you might be, actually, I better bring Davinci up. There it is. So you might be familiar with the source tape. It flattens out all the media and lets you basically visually scroll across all your media. It's really great when using an edit keyboard. It's like something we have on the Davinci Resolve speed editor. So let me show you that. So if I click source, there you see there. Now it's lined up all these shots. Now I've got a couple of shots here that have come in. And in fact, I don't need the mouse.
Getting close to the screen, just there's some new icons I'm noticing straight away.
Now it lines up all the shots sequentially, even if the shots are recorded at the same time.
Yes, interesting new
so it's a little bit of a disadvantage. I mean, it's great to browse the media visually, but the shots have been lined up end to end, and you can see here I've got 2 different shots.
You were kind of asking for
lined up end to end.
Maybe something that's a little in between.
But that can make it hard to
It'd be quite
find
nice on
shots
the
that have been
desk, couldn't
recorded
it,
at the
with
same
with a
time,
normal keyboard for you
such
to
as
just,
shots
type,
recovering,
and then have that as your
covering
main
an important
editing
event,
panel.
which is what news people deal with all the time. So we've added
Remains to be
2 new
seen how-
features to fix this.
How helpful
The
that would
first
be.
is called multi-source. It's a setting you can turn on, and it changes how the source tape works. It basically checks the time code on all the media, then displays any shots that line up in
3%.
time side by side in the
Okay.
multi-view. So you can scroll and see the shots that match. And it makes it really easy to find multiple angles of the same event. So let me show you how that works. Now first I can select the multi-source button. We have a button on the panel for that, but we've also got, this is the button here, we've also got a button in the user interface here. So I can click that. And now you can see what it's done is it's changed it. Now it's changed the viewer and it's aligned the 2 shots in time. And wherever there's a match, I get a multi-view. So you can see both angles. Then I can edit them into the timeline. So let me just, before I do the edit, let me just go back and show you
So is this...
at the start here. You can see I only had 1 camera at the start here.
We still have the sync bit.
And then the second camera started recording and now it's turned it into a multi-view because they've lined up in time. So I can edit these. If I want to do an edit, I can select, say, camera 1. And I'll need to put an in and out point. So I'll put an in point, put an out point. Then I can append it into the timeline. Then I can go along and click on, and we can add the second angle by clicking on camera 2. I can add an in point, an output, append that. So you can see how nice it is. Now I've got 2 shots from different cameras of the same event, but it's dynamic. If a new shot arrives, it automatically updates and I can see it. So let's upload another shot. I've got the guys, we've actually recorded this with 3 cameras. So if we can upload the 3rd camera file, guys, and we'll let it come in. So we shot this on 3 cameras, but we only uploaded the 2. But we're now uploading the 3rd camera, so it'll automatically appear in the sync bin and we'll automatically see it. It'll appear in the multi-view and that shot should arrive any second. So, there it goes.
There it goes.
And so you see it's just appeared. So it's in the bin and it's now
Cool.
in the multi-view. So I can see I've got a 3rd shot. So I can scroll
This
a
is
bit.
amazing for
See,
people
there
who are
it is.
doing live events.
So it's cool.
But even if you're
Using
not
milk.
doing live events,
And let's add that
Just
shot to
looks
our
like it
edit.
could work
So we'll
with
select
that,
camera
doesn't it?
3.
it looks
There it
as
is.
though
We'll put an out point.
this would make
And
multi-cam
we'll append
editing
that.
really nice.
So this all just happens in seconds. It's so cool. That shot came in from Blackmagic Cloud. And you can really see how fast you can edit and get shots into an edit. It's so fast. You can actually see the camera original hasn't come in yet because I've got the purple bar along there. So it's pretty cool. Now, of course, I can do this all on the panel. In this case, I just hold down the camera numbers and I can use the search dial to load in. So let me show you how that works. It's even cooler. So, and this is nice about having the buttons along here now. So I can
I
just
love how
add
Grant's a bit of
some of
such a-
camera
feels like
1
such a fanboy.
and some of
It's so
camera
comfy.
2 and some of camera 3. And it's so cool, it's great. Now these edits are all on append, but if you want to insert the shot, then you just go right onto the edit point and it'll insert it in the
George has
edit
just
point
asked,
there.
Has
But
Fusion
if you
have an
press
update?
the
Yes,
insert
there's
key
stuff
while
in
you're in
Fusion,
multi-source,
IntelliTrack,
then it'll
new
actually
tracking.
shift the timeline
Looks amazing.
CTI to the
Some new
closest edit point
USD
right
stuff
on
as
it.
well.
And then when you use the live override, it'll put it in as an
New
insert.
sort of, frame and
But only
sort
if you're in
of,
multi-source on all cams.
as well.
Now, if you're on
That's
top of
pretty
a clip, then it'll be a place on top. So you can actually
Right,
modify
just
how
a
those
paper
clips go
graph.
into the timeline. Now, there's another new cut page tool for fast editing as well, and it's called point of interest. Now, the point of interest is not a marker, but we have improved markers in Davinci Resolve 19. They're a lot better, and even they're better on the panel. But point of interest is different. It's not connected to a timeline or a clip in any way. It's just time-based. It's basically a point in time. It's like a bookmark. So once you have set a POI, Davinci changes how it's edited. So let's set a POI, and I can show you. So we'll scroll along here, and I'll set a POI. Now, I've got a POI key, but there's also one on the user interface.
Just
here.
there, yeah.
So there's my POI. Now Davinci knows the point you're interested in, and it can do a lot of editing features with the POI. Now you can see I've only got one POI here because I've set multi-source, and all those clips are lining up in time. But let's turn off multi-source so you can see the media sequentially again. So I'll turn it off there. And now you can see that we have a POI in each clip because now they're sequential. And the timeline also has POIs. You can see along the timeline down here.
Yeah, look at that.
You can see the point of interest on the clips there as well because they match the POI time. Now let's turn the multi-source back on. I'll do it on the panel. So POI is a great way of seeing an important event. You can even do things like if I go to the timeline and scroll along and I slip the clip, you can see how the POI, the clip's sliding within that area. So it's pretty cool. So the POI is always a clip time. There's also
It's
a
like a
POI
smart
palette
marker,
in the interface here. And it lets you set a
there.
specific date and time for a POI. Now, the point of interest doesn't need media. It can be any time or date. So if something happens, you can set the POI time, like say something in the future. So then when the clips arrive, you can see which ones match the POI because there's an indicator as well as in the clips. So there's a lot of other really nice new features in the cut page, but the most exciting is the replay features. They're really cool. So let's check out replay now, and we can see what we've done to make replay work in Davinci Resolve. Now, it could have been a separate app. We could have just done a replay app, but I think adding it to Davinci Resolve makes it much more powerful because you get replay combined with really powerful editing. And it's not just simple playlists, which is what replay systems have. So let me really describe how this works. So basically, I've got a rack here with all this stuff in it set up for replay. So it's basically storage centric. So what I'm doing is I'm recording to a Blackmagic Cloud Store. Now I've got 8 HyperDeck Studio recorders in here. And they've got some new software that we've got for the HyperDecks to allow network recording. So they record all directly to this network storage. Now I've actually set up each HyperDeck Studio recording to the same folder on the Blackmagic Cloud Store here. Although each deck is actually recording into a separate ISO folder that I've got within that folder. And I've also set each HyperDeck to have a separate unique camera ID. And then I've also got this Davinci Resolve system connected to in this computer, connected to the Cloud Store as well. So this will be doing the playback. This Davinci Resolve is basically managed the playback side, which is connected to the Cloud Store. So it's really that simple. So let's do a replay. Now the new replay features are controlled by a new replay palette, which is up the top here. This is it here. So you can click that, and there's my replay palette. So it's pretty simple. Now it allows really fast shot selection and playback to air. You can also sequence multiple shots, and then you can transfer those replays to the timeline. So then other people can do post-production work. Now it's got the replay controls, which is cue, run and dump. Because playing to air is different. It changes the way the video hardware works. So playing to air is different than normal playback. Now I can show you what that means, but first let's create a new project because we'll do all that replay into a new project.
I mean, I must admit,
Cancel.
people are talking about 3 and 5% of
local.
the use of all of the features that you'll get out of Davinci Resolve, and even I'm looking at this going, wow, I don't necessarily think
in the palette there's an add to timeline selection, which I'll add.
Awesome to have it, right?
I'll turn on.
It's amazing.
So anything we do between the run and the dump will be added to the timeline. So I've turned that on so we can see how that works once I've created a replay. Now the palette also has an indicator for the playback speed up here, and it's also the time remaining in the replay. Now what we need to do is get the to get the replay to work, I need to start recording on these HyperDecks here. So I'll go across and start recording on the HyperDecks. So if you can just track over.
I love what Grant said. It's really as simple as that.
Pretty easy.
It sounded bloody complicated to me. That sounded like there's a lot of stuff going on there, but...
So all the remote controls are daisy chain, so I only need to record on the first deck and then all the other decks will go on to record.
I would love
Now the Cloud Store monitoring will show the data being written if you can check that out. Now I've got all the decks to record in ProRes 422 and I'm recording HD at 1080p 50. Also the media I'm recording is a cooking show, which is just, I'm doing a simple demo here. No one would obviously use a cooking show for a replay unless someone got horribly burned, but it works for this demo, so I can show you how it all works. Now I have Davinci Resolve's video output connected to the ATEM speaker. It's an Ultra Studio 4K Mini that's been updated to support replay. Now the fill and key output is connected to the ATEM downstream keyer, so this helps with automation. So I should obviously turn this key on there, and I'll go to a different input there, and that should be good. So I'm on air with that keyer. Now the replays will use the downstream key, so it should be cool. So now we've started the recording, we need to load the media into the bin. So Davinci Resolve can actually read these files even while they're being written now. That's another update for Davinci. So let's load the media into the bin. So I've got to go, there's my record media. So I'll load that. I'll change my project frame rate. There it all is.
So they're all live.
Now we can visually browse all our media by going through it all. And we can use the source button for that, which I'm doing there, which is pretty cool. Now you can see all the media sequentially like that, but we don't really want to do that. So we're using the new multi-source feature because we want to see all the what the HyperDecks are recording. And so we want to see it in a multi-view and all aligned in time. So we've got that. Now you can see all your cameras at once. It's pretty cool. You can scroll the viewers. Actually, I'll enlarge the viewer a bit. And I can even play the views. So there they are there. This is really cool because this is way more powerful than a traditional replay system that can't do all that. And I can also select different views, so I can switch between cameras. So that's really cool. The camera, 8 cameras is actually a lot for replay. I'll go back to all cams. It's a bit hard to track. So most people only do about 4 cameras for replay. So let's change it to 4 cameras, and it's really easy to do because you can customize it by using what's in the bin. So what I'll do is I'll remove 4 of the cameras we don't want, even while they're still being recorded, because we just want to use the 4. So let's go back to our bin here. Actually, I want to go under there. So all we have to do is really get rid of these folders.
Huh. But it's still being recorded though, so that's pretty cool.
Okay. Now when I go back to the multi-source, I only see the 4 views.
Oh, that's cool.
So you have the 4-way multi-view. So now I can scroll the cameras.
Man, this opens up so many
on the back
potential possibilities, especially if you're doing broadcast or live events.
And I can switch between the specific cameras, of course, and go back. And I use the keyboard number keys for that. So you can really see how nice it is to navigate. It's really easy to see the cameras. Now the current multi-view is also this viewer multi-view is also on the video output, so the director can see what you're doing. So you can navigate in the cameras and show people things. So it's quite cool. And you can also see over on the bin over here, I've got icons on the files to show that they're actually currently being recorded into, which is really cool. So actually you can see which clips are the live recordings. Also, the media in the viewer here is growing. You can see it actually bumping along as the recordings are getting longer because Davinci's actively watching the files grow because this media in here is increasing in length. It's pretty cool.
That is nuts.
So it's kind of weird to see it doing that. So now let's do a replay. So the first thing I want to do is switch to the video input. So I can do there. Now what I'm doing is I'm watching a live multi-view from the ATEM switcher because there's no latency and I get a live view of the action so I can wait for an event to happen. So when something happens, I'll use the POI for that. So what I'll do is I'll grab a POI. So when I do the POI on the video input, it'll actually grab the POI from the timecode source on the video input. Because I want to mark something that's happening now. So the timecode input is actually the most accurate POI time. So when I set the POI, a whole bunch of stuff will then happen. Now what will happen is it'll grab the POI from the timecode on the input, then it'll switch back to the viewer and it'll go to that POI. And the media will have just come in at that point because obviously the viewer side has still got the media appearing. Now I went to input view on this keyboard here, but there is actually a button for input view in the replay palette, which I can't see because I'm on input view. So what will happen is the viewer will be queued to that POI time. So let's wait for something interesting to happen. So she just puts the plate down on the bench so I can set the POI. So what's happened is that happened really fast. So what it did is it basically switched across. I set the POI, switched across to the viewer, and then it set the viewer position to the POI time just there. So it's queued to the POI. So it's pretty cool. Actually, you can see it there. I'll just point to it. There's my mouse. See, just there. So you can see, and of course that's moving to the left because there's media growing on the right-hand side there. So it's pretty cool. Now there's also an indicator to show me how far away from the POI I am, which is really kind of important. So if I scroll back, I can see, I'll use jog because I'm scrolling there, but you can see I'm 4, 5, 6 seconds away from the POI time, which is pretty cool. That's called the POI offset indicator, and it updates as I scroll, and it shows how far away from the POI I am. And in fact, I can do it from both sides of the POI. See? I can show which side I'm on. So it's pretty cool. So to do the replay, obviously I've got to pick a camera. I think camera 2 is the best. So let's select camera 2. So there I am. And I can scroll a little bit, so I can now scroll just camera 2 or even 1. So you can see that point where they put the dish down was where the POI time is. So maybe I'll go back 5 seconds. I'll stay on camera 1 actually. And I can select any other cameras I want, different views. And that's all I need to do. So basically now I'm ready to play this shot to air. However, one of the problems is you don't want to do the replay immediately. The game could still be playing. The director wanted to have that ready as a replay, but not actually do that replay. Something else might happen. So I can switch back to the input view anytime I want. I know I've got that replay ready to go. So I can switch back to my input, the replay is ready. If nothing really interesting happens, then I go back to the source by pushing source again, and I'm back here ready to go. So if they say they want to run the replay, I can just go back and play that to air by pushing the run button. Now there's a run button here, so I can push that. And now what's happened is something really interesting has happened. So you can see that the viewer has changed to a multi-view while I'm doing that, but the video output is at playing camera 2. So you can see that happening there. That's a very important feature because what it allows us to do is shot sequencing. So I can review the next shot, which I can see now. I've got camera 1 is playing to air, but I might decide that I want to do camera 4. So what it lets me do is I can get really fast, I can get the first shot to air, and once that's playing, I can see the multi-view and see if I've got a different shot that I want to sequence to, because I'm watching a multi-view on the viewer here. And I can see how, camera 4 looks good. So what I want to do is I want to decide I want to run that camera 4 next as my second shot. I don't need a second replay channel to do this, I can just do it from here. So while the first shot's playing, when I play to where with the run, the viewer is always a multi-view. And the output, video output, is the full frame camera. Now, the reason this works is because of the POI. Davinci knows what I'm interested in. It knows where the POI is. I've played a fair way past it at this point. So while I'm playing, so I can scroll back to before the POI, and while I'm playing the first camera, which is what it's doing now, I'm going to switch back to camera 4. So let's do that. So to do that, what I'll do is I'll select 3 seconds. So I'll basically press and hold a time key, which will be 3 seconds, and then I'll press camera 4. And what it'll do is it'll jump back 3 seconds before the POI and change to camera 4 on the program video app while that happens. So let's do that. So there's 3 seconds there, and I'll push camera 4. And now what it's done is it's jumped back, and you see she's put the plate down, and I can basically jump back and forth between the 2 cameras so you can see it, which I can do, and that'll repeat what I'm doing, so you can kind of see how this works, because you've got to do it a few times and you'll start to see what I'm doing. So what I'll do is I'll push 3 seconds, and I'll jump back and forward. See where she puts the plate down? That's camera 1.
Yeah.
And that's camera 2 while she's moving out of the shot there. But you can see all I have to do is push the camera button, and it'll go back 3 seconds before the POI. And the same thing, because I'm doing the same amount of time, and we're just switching between these 2 cameras.
That's
Makes
so
it a bit
cool.
easier to see what's happening. It's quite
I'm
interesting,
just
isn't it?
thinking
Of course,
about
I can
sports events. Obviously,
do the same thing with other
I don't know
cameras.
if any of you are golf fans. I'm a massive golf fan. Played today,
So
actually.
that's basically doing an auto
Averagely.
shot sequencing. So it's pretty cool. It
be
makes it
queuing
really
up
easy
all
to do a
sorts of
multi-shot
highlights and
replay.
stuff.
The switcher operator is not even distracted by any of the replays. The replay operator can do the whole replay. They can manage the whole thing. Plus, we can add transitions. So I was using cuts here. So let's use dissolves. So normally
For me, this is
these
actually
keys, the dissolve
Davinci
keys,
Resolve away from
down
just a video
here
editing platform.
they add a transition.
It's capable
But when you're
of
playing to air, they change. They
so
become
much
a
more
transition
than just
enable.
video editing
So what
now.
we can do, it's really nice to see. So I
Pretty
can
cool.
turn on dissolve, and I can do some of these. Now it'll do a dissolve between the cameras. It's pretty cool. And then I can, this is so nice to use. And of course I can stop the replay at any time. And we do that by pressing the dump button. So let's do that. There it is, now it's finished. So it's gone back to the switcher source that was, because it's turned off the key up. So you might have noticed that the clips in the timeline have appeared. So I can switch to the timeline now and scroll along, and I was talking a fair bit at the front there. Sorry, go there. So I can go down here. So you can see I was doing a bunch of shots between the replays. And then I was talking a bit more. And then down here I was doing the transitions. So that's pretty cool. So that's because we had it set to add the replay to the timeline. So you can see everything that we did is now an edit. It watched what we did, and this could now become a social media post. Well, not this obviously, but a real one. You might want to add some graphics to the front and maybe change the aspect ratio, maybe a title cut, like a score cut at the end. But I think it's really exciting.
Again, just using that
Now, what's
as a prime
important to
example
sort of understand about the dump feature
of sports,
is
you
kind of
could
how the
just
button
rattling
works.
out
It doesn't
clips
just stop
and
playback
upload
there
them
like I
straight
just
to
did there.
YouTube
It
Shorts,
actually does
things
more
like
than that. It's intelligent. So it does define the end of a replay, but it won't just stop the replay instantly. What it'll do is if you're doing a transition, for example, like you were doing one of those dissolves here, you don't really want it to happen immediately. So what it'll do, it'll wait a few seconds because you don't want a bad edit. And then it'll finish the replay. Now you can still crash out if you hit dump multiple times. Just double press dump and it'll finish the replay. So you can crash out, but it's going to be a bit more elegant. It's a bit more intelligent than just immediately finishing. Okay, now let's check out auto stingers. So what I'll do is I'll turn off the add to timeline so we don't keep adding to the timeline. Now what we know is we'll load a stinger because we have a feature called auto stingers. So let me show you how that works. Here's my stinger. There it is. So now the next step is to turn on the auto stinger. There it is there. Now the auto stinger's on, the stinger panel will appear, and you can load multiple stingers in here, and you can switch between them on the panel or on the front here. Also, the timeline changes to show that the auto stinger's turned on. So you'll see some indications there. So let's load stinger 1. So we'll go into our stinger, load it in. There it is. Now when I do a replay, it'll add a stinger. Now if there's an alpha channel in the stinger, it'll output that before the timeline starts to play. That's because the stinger starts to play before the timeline media. We'll go to our POI. There we are. And I'll select camera 1. So the switcher basically is going to do the overlay in the downstream keyer. So once the stinger gets to the midpoint, it'll overlay the second half of the stinger over the timeline clip. And it does that also at the end of the replay, but in reverse. So you actually get the alpha channel and the stinger coming through. So let's press run and we'll see how that goes, and you'll see the stinger. If I cut to the video out, you'll see the stinger run. There it goes. It's covered over the live switcher output, and there's my replay. Now I can switch to camera 4 again. So when I press dump, it then ran the stinger again. So let's do it again. It's quite cool. There it goes. There's my stinger. There's my camera. Cut to camera 1. Then I'll press dump. And you'll see it overlay the timeline, and now it's overlaid in the live video input from the switcher. And Davinci does all the work. So the auto stinger is a very powerful feature. It's basically like automation, like an automation script or kind of a macro built in. And the switcher operator doesn't need to do anything. The replay does everything. The shot sequencing and the stingers. And you notice I didn't change the downstream key because when I run to air, the alpha channel goes white and enables the replay. And also Ultra Studio 4K Mini sets the main SDI key outputs to black, and it also mutes the audio. Also, the auto stinger doesn't get added to the timeline when you select add to timeline, because the timeline will become an edit. So you just want the clips, you don't want all the stingers and things in there. Now I can also play out a timeline with auto stinger as well. Because it's a timeline, I can use the cue. So we'll go back to the start, and then when I press run, it'll add a stinger, and now it's using the timeline as a replay. And it'll automatically run the stinger at the end of the replay, which is a fair length, so I won't wait until the end. Now that could be like a breaking news story, which we just got a breaking news story over a cooking show. So you can see how you could use that for like replaying breaking news or something like that. So it's pretty cool. Now we also have speed changes in the panel. We use the fader for that, so you can change the playback speed. So if we play, there's also an enable button because you don't want to accidentally turn on the speed change by accident. So we'll play the timeline, and I can turn on speed change and start to slow it down. So you see it's cool. It's a lot of fun to use.
That's very cool.
So it's pretty cool. I'll turn that back off. Now we're using 8 HyperDeck Studios and a Blackmagic Cloud Store here, and that's a very high-end solution. But what about lower cost option? And we've been working on that. What we want to do is we want to make the ATEM Mini Extreme ISO switches work. But it's a bit different though. They're obviously a little bit different. The trick is to use the ISO record files, but those files are H.264, so they're a little bit slower because they've got a little bit more latency, but it still works. So we've been working on a software update that adds network storage support into the ATEM Mini Extreme ISO, and that would let the Davinci access the USB record disk via the Ethernet connection on the back of the ATEM Mini Extreme ISO. Now to get a live video input like we're doing here, we'd use the USB webcam, and we have a software update to allow the multi-view to come through, and that lets us get the multi-view into Davinci Resolve for the live input, and that input also, the USB input also provides time code for the POI.
Nice.
So you can play back into the ATEM Mini Extreme using maybe an Ultra Studio Mini monitor. Now it doesn't do the alpha channel blending thing, unless you had a lot more powerful hardware. So you just cut to the playback, so it's pretty nice. But you would get a replay for no cost. Now the work, it works on an ATEM Mini Extreme ISO you already have, and I think it'll be really exciting to see how people use it. So keep an eye out for an update for the ATEM switches, because we'll have to have that software update out pretty soon. We also hope to have that showing on the ATEM Mini Extreme ISO doing replay at our NAB booth. So if you're coming to the show, come by and check that out, because I'm pretty sure we're going to get that to work. Also, the ATEM Television Studio HD ISO does ISO recording. It already has network storage access, and the recordings are also H.264 files. Now, they weren't designed for replay, so we're also working for a software update for that switcher as well to reduce latency, and that should make the ATEM Television Studio HD ISO also do replay. So I think it'll be really exciting. So Davinci Resolve 19 is a big update. It's got a lot of new, really interesting things like this. It'll be fantastic to have some conversations with people. Now, the update will be free of charge. So we're going to post a public beta of Davinci Resolve, and that should be released in the next few days. Now, the new Davinci Resolve Replay Editor will be $495, and that should be available in May. There'll also be an update for Ultra Studio 4K Mini available from today. It'll add the mute feature for the fill and key outputs, which helps replay when using the keyer and the switcher. There's also an update for all newer HyperDeck Studio models that adds the network recording.
I think Davinci Resolve Studio will therefore...
And that'll be HyperDeck 9.4. Now, all these updates are free of charge, and so you can just go and download these updates and get the new features. So keep an eye out for them. There's also another interesting HyperDeck feature that I haven't talked about yet, and we haven't had time really to demo it because I thought that was probably long enough. Now, we've been working on the HyperDeck Extreme 8K to add 4 channels of recording into it. So it means you can record 4 channels of Ultra HD on a single deck, and if you put 2 of them in a rack side by side, that's 8 channels in only 3 rack units in size. So I think that'll be really nice.
I'm just going to quiet Grant down just for a second while he's talking about HyperDecks, because I think a lot of you guys are involved and interested in Davinci Resolve.
4K Mini is not really designed for the job. It's
But Davinci Resolve 19, pretty cool. There's some amazing stuff that we just saw, and I think, to be honest, I think we were scratching the surface there a little bit. I think there were some other things that were going to be very interesting for people as well.
What we've done is we've decided to design a product dedicated for replay. And the reason is the way kind of broadcasters work. Yeah, if you look at a broadcast van or a studio, the equipment's all built in. The monitors are installed in a control room. So you don't really want monitors on desks, especially in broadcast trucks, they'll just fall over. So what we really needed to do was design something that allows a better and capture playback product, but designed for broadcast use, and we've done that. It's called Blackmagic Media Player 10G. It's a Thunderbolt capture and playback solution, but it's designed for broadcast playback. Now, it has a lot of features, and we'll check it out. I've got some slides. Now, on the front panel, we've got the LCD for status, and there's a headphone socket and a speaker and an enable button, but there's also Thunderbolt on the front. So you can actually install this into a control room desk and walk right up and plug into that socket on the front. Now, that's great if you're using a laptop. Now, it'll also power the laptop. So this is really cool because you can set up the laptop any way you want. You just walk up and plug in with a single cable. So it's really cool. Now, the rear connections I've got a slide for. Shows you what you get. Now, the first is the power connection. That's AC power. Now, next to that's a Thunderbolt connection on the back as well. So you can use the front or the back, depending on how you're installing the computer or if you're using a laptop. So obviously the one on the back is used when the equipment, like maybe the computer's in a rack. There's also 10G Ethernet.
Today,
so what this means is your computer gets an Ethernet connection when you plug the Thunderbolt in, so you can access the network storage like we were doing here.
Really appreciate you
now at the top there's a 12G SDI fill and key output. Now these are the main 10-bit program outs. They go up to 2160p60 with fill and key in 10-bit. They're enabled when you're playing back to air, and they're muted when they're off air. Both the audio and the video is muted. So that means you can use a downstream keyer, and then playback the Ultra channel will automatically enable the playout when you run a playout using the run button. Now we've also added a 12G SDI input. Now this is obviously where you connect the multi-view from the switcher for replay, so you need that input. And Blackmagic desktop video products are bidirectional, which is the driver that works with this. So you can input video, you could process it and output at the same time. So you can use this for like various kinds of computer-based processing engines. So if you wanted to use some AI code or something for broadcast, you could do that. So it's not just obviously for Davinci, but it's for all kinds of broadcast use. Now next to that, if you look at the back panel, you'll see we've got a 12G SDI output and HDMI outputs, and that's for an extended desktop. So this makes the computer think that it's got an extended desktop, which means that the UI monitor can also be built into the control room desk. So this is like for the Davinci Resolve user interface. And there's also a USB there, which is also a USB port added to the computer, so you can have a local mouse and keyboard. So it's pretty cool. You basically get everything for the extended desktop and everything in the one, but we also have an additional monitor output, and that's 12G SDI and HDMI. Now that's the same video as the fill and key output, but it's never muted. And that's what you'd run into your edit monitor so you can keep editing. So you always get video, you always get sound on that. And that's where you connect your video monitor first. You can keep working while your on-air output is muted, but this is your live output that's always there. Now 12G SDI, that's great when you're connecting to routers and SDI monitors, but HDMI is great for a local computer monitor. It's great to have both options on both of those connectors.
No problem, Mark.
We also have a balanced XLR audio monitoring outputs, which is great for like cloud speakers.
On your Friday evening.
And lastly, there's a broadcast style swifter to remote input that uses standard deck control protocol. And that allows a remote control of the connected software. So this is where you could get,
just where you're watching from
like
as well.
automation systems controlling Davinci and maybe playing to air directly. That's something broadcasters need. So you get all these connections with a single Thunderbolt cable. Plus it keeps your computer charged. So it's really cool. So, replay and graphics operators can use their own computer. They can have all their own preferred settings and titles and stingers, and they just roll up on a job and plug in. So they can set up offline. They can, even at home, they walk up, they plug in, and it connects, and everything's ready to go. The whole system is connected through that one Thunderbolt cable. So like all Blackmagic Deck, like an Ultra Studio products, there's an SDK, so developers can create their own custom solutions, and that's a free download. Now, I think this is a great new model. The new Blackmagic Media Player will be priced at $995. Expected to be available in July, which is a little later than the other products, but after doing some replay work, we actually had to make some design changes, so we kind of rearranged the back panel. So it's a much better product now, and it's perfect for all kinds of media broadcast, playback. It's really the ultimate broadcast breakout box for laptop and desktop computers, so it's pretty cool. So now I want to talk about storage. So this replay solution is great, but it really depends on the storage. The storage has to be really fast, has to handle a lot of record channels all at the same time. Plus you need to connect Davinci Resolve all at the same time.
If anyone's got one,
so what we've done is we have the rack mount Cloud Store Mini, and it's a fantastic little network storage product. There's a newer 16 terabyte model we released a couple of weeks ago, which can be used for replay. And I've used it for Ultra HD, but it's only got a single 10G Ethernet port. So you know, that 10G Ethernet port can get overloaded pretty quickly. So we wanted something with high performance, something with a lot more speed and storage capacity.
What are you shooting with?
And that's important when you're running Ultra HD.
What drone are you using?
So we have a new model of Blackmagic Cloud Store. It's called Blackmagic Cloud Store Max, and it's even faster than the Cloud Store Mini. Let me show you. I'll bring it out. So you can see, here it is here.
Cloud Store is awesome stuff.
So you can see it's got an LCD on the front there, so you can get a shot of that with the camera. So the Cloud Store Max comes in two capacities. There's a 24 terabyte model and a larger 48 terabyte model. Now internally, it's actually got 12 M.2 flash memory cards in a RAID 0 configuration, so it's extremely fast. All those cards work in parallel for incredible speed and very low latency. I mean, you can see the low latency we're doing when we're doing the replays there. So let's check out the back. This is where it gets really interesting. So here you can see that we've got AC power connection, and we've also got a broadcast DC backup power supply connection. We've got a QSFP socket, which allows 100G Ethernet into this, so it's very fast. It's very quiet. It's got quiet fans.
100G.
So of course, with that socket, you can use optical fiber or copper cables. It's also got the 410G Ethernet, so you can plug in recorders and workstations straight into the back if you want. Now, it's got some interesting monitoring. The monitoring is now both SDI and HDMI. SDI is nice because you can plug the monitoring into a router and keep track of what the storage is doing. I find that really nice, like we were showing before. When you started recording, you could see the speed to get a feeling for how heavily loaded the storage is.
BMD stuff.
Or you can use the HDMI for a TV or a computer monitor. I think it's nice having the monitoring output. It's the same monitoring output the other Cloud Store models have. So it's got that storage map, the speed graphs, the number of active users, and the storage status. Plus, if it syncs to Blackmagic Cloud website, you can see the syncs in there. So it's really nice. And it does the global media sync now with obviously Blackmagic Cloud. So each Davinci Resolve user doesn't need to use storage on their own computers. If you're doing post-production, they can just use this as a storage or like a work group storage-centric thing. It understands the proxy, so it'll bring those down first. So I think this model will be extremely useful. It allows replay and high-resolution frame rates, but it's a great, fantastic core of a whole post-production film production system as well. Now, the great thing about our cloud stores is we don't do any subscriptions to use them. It's private storage, so it's secure. It's a very simple utility to maintain it. You don't have to use a weird website, so you can get it off the internet. And obviously, the software that comes with it's a free utility for Mac and Windows. So I think this is a really great new model. It's really nice. Now, the new Blackmagic Cloud Store Max 24 terabyte will be priced at $6,495. And we also have this larger capacity one, which is 48 terabyte. And that's called the Blackmagic Cloud Store Max 48 terabyte, and they'll be priced at $9,995. So that'll be available in May. Now we have some really big, powerful updates for Blackmagic Cloud this year. This is for obviously large broadcasters, but also for high-end post-production. We've been working really hard on these features. Now, one of the features is rental licenses, and this is for the full Davinci Resolve Studio. Now, I'm not a big fan of paying for cloud licenses for creative software. You know, it locks up the archive of your work unless you keep paying. But large customers need it. You know, they can't purchase software because they can't manage the licenses. Plus, large companies have complex accounting departments. They don't want to buy licenses because they've got to manage them as assets.
You're right. Yeah,
they've got to manage where they are, dongles and license keys. So what they do is they need to cost the license cost against the show or the film. So rental licenses are also faster to get up and running. With rental licenses, you can like spin up 100 new licenses in seconds, and then they can cost those licenses against the show. They can cancel the licenses when the show's finished, or they can add and remove staff from as they like. So for large companies, rental licenses are actually quite simple. Now, the good thing about Davinci Resolve is you can still buy it outright. So this means that the rental licenses really complement the paid licenses. You'll never have to worry about locking up your work. If someone assigns you a license via Blackmagic Cloud, then you don't need to enter the license key. You just enter your Blackmagic Cloud ID and the software will just work. So And then, of course, if you don't have the license anymore, then you can just use a paid version. It's up to you. So I think that's the most flexible way we can do it while also making large customers happy. Now, to sort of help manage a lot of this stuff, we also have another new feature called organizations. Now, this lets you set up an organization and add staff. Again, it's something large companies need. Inside the organization, you can also then create groups. So the organization is your company, and then the group can be like a specific TV show.
I think this is pretty cool stuff that Grant's talking about. I'm just going to mute it ever so slightly.
Because you can now share a project or a presentation.
I love the way he
with
talks
group.
about
You
that,
can share a rental
and the way the
license
company
with everybody
ethos is in terms of the,
so everybody in the show
bigger
would
companies
automatically
need it,
get a
but we're not
Davinci
taking away the
Resolve
other stuff. We're not going to bring in subscriptions, for
So
example,
organisations
necessarily,
is much faster
in
than
terms
adding
of
all
for
people
just
one at a
everybody,
time.
and then people
Because
just
you
do
can define
multiple
these large
subscriptions
groups
for
of people,
users.
and it's extremely
I like the way
powerful.
they've done that.
And all the billing
This
information
organisation
in
thing
organisations
is cool.
is shown. So
I'd like to see
you
some
can then get the
improvements to
cost for each
presentations as
group
well,
and
so they
you
haven't
can
talked
assign
about
that to a
that.
show.
Whether or not we'll see that
So one of the
today,
other
I
big
don't know.
reasons for the organizations feature in Blackmagic Cloud is the single sign-on. These large companies have these IT departments that assign new staff an email address, and with organizations, you can now connect those systems to their single sign-in thing. So you can set up organizations manually just by going to the new Blackmagic Cloud organizations feature, but these large companies have these information systems where that information can come in from the IT system. So the organization and the groups would all be created automatically. And as they add new staff, they would come into the organizations automatically. And so it'll be really cool.
Really appreciate
Now,
you guys
organizations will be available in
sticking around and
Blackmagic, in the
watching this with me.
Blackmagic Cloud website in the next day or so. And for the single sign-on, at the moment we're working with live customers directly with this. Now, we want to automate it in the future, but what we really want to do is make sure that we have compatibility with all these IT systems first. So any large customers that want to work with their single sign-in, they just contact one of our offices and we can get that to work. So it's really cool. Now, one of the other new features of Blackmagic Cloud is syncing to the Blackmagic Cloud stores, like this guy here. Customers are using these massive media files, and Google and Dropbox, Google Drive and Dropbox haven't really been handling it very well. So using Blackmagic Cloud to sync the files between the cloud stores is much better. You can sync the media globally, and there's no file size limitations. So it works much better. It's our software running on both ends. We can make it really fine-tune it. So to get this feature, look out for a new Blackmagic Cloud software update. It should be available in the next few days, and that'll actually then enable our Blackmagic Cloud stores and all the cloud stores to sync to the Blackmagic Cloud website. Okay, so now let's talk about cameras.
Here we go.
So when we originally developed our URSA Mini Pro, we took some risks with that design. We wanted to be a high-end digital film camera, but we wanted to add a lot of controls and features. We took a lot of ideas from broadcast cameras, funny enough, and we wanted it to be affordable. So we really wanted to use broadcast connections. And that was kind of a great idea until we launched that 12K sensor. And that was an extremely high-end feature film sensor, and the high-end film industry loved the sensor. The camera body now became the limit. It didn't really have the correct film industry connections. It makes it really hard to add accessories used for film shoots. So we wanted to fix that. But also, we kind of thought a bit more deeply about it. We sort of started to think about what a new digital film camera might be. What if money was no object? What happens if, in our past cameras, we've always worried about affordability. What if we didn't care about cost? What could we actually build? So the good thing is we had a lot of really good ideas. We had some really good project goals if money was no object. And we wanted to build our dream high-end digital film camera. We wanted to have everything we could have ever wanted. We wanted no limits on features and no matter what the cost was. And we also wanted to design a whole new generation of image sensor. And we wanted that camera to integrate into the whole post-production process, plus support global post-production workflows with Blackmagic Cloud. And we've done all that. The camera's called Blackmagic URSA Cine. So first, actually, though, I want to show you the new 12K sensors. And this is our second generation of Blackmagic Design designed 12K sensor. Let me make some space here. So there's a bit of space to move. So you can see here it is here.
I love how particular Grant is with all the stuff. He's so gentle with it. He puts it also, it's absolutely
it's
immaculate.
a full frame sensor. So that's the
this guy loves what he does, doesn't he?
Existing 12K sensor in URSA Mini Pro 12K. That's the new sensor there. Now the sensor's natively 3x2 open gate. It supports a lot of different ratios and formats, from spherical and anamorphic lenses. It's got a massive 16 stops of dynamic range. That's the most of any Blackmagic camera by far. It's got larger photo sights than this sensor for better light collecting ability. And it's also got the symmetrical RGBW sensor design, so we can do in-sensor scaling. Now the dimensions of this sensor are 35.64 millimeters by 23.32 millimeters, and the resolution is 12,288 pixels by 8,040 pixels. But we've also worked a fair bit on the color science on this new generation sensor. And we've actually added the Davinci Resolve color science into the image sensor itself, which is really quite unique and quite revolutionary. So the sensor pixel pitch and the color filter array is much denser and different to simple Bayer sensors. So the images are spectacular. It's kind of like a new type of film stock. You get much better color reproduction. Plus there's clear pixels in the color array, so you get better boost in sensitivity. And the higher resolution allows really smooth images with better handling of fine detail. So the images are just really high quality without being overly sharpened or harsh. Plus,
nice.
That excessive resolution gives you full RGB color at the delivery resolution, which is really nice. Put them back there. I kind of always feel weird touching sensors. It just feels wrong. Now, the color filter is also symmetrical. So like I was saying before, you can do in-sensor scaling without harsh aliasing.
We'll let you off.
So now let's check out the camera. So I'll bring the camera out.
What will this look like? Is it going to be a massive, great big thing? Bloody hell, yeah, okay. That's looking pretty cool.
So you can see it's a whole new design. Now the lens mount, if you can get a shot of the front there, the lens mount includes the shims now for fast changeover when you're rigging the camera. And there's also both PL and EF locking lens mounts included with the camera. The camera has an optical low-pass filter installed and it's been designed for the 12K sensor. Plus it has built-in ND filters with 2, 4 and 6 stop increments, and they're electronically controlled. Now the viewfinder attaches to the front with a small dovetail, so it's almost instantaneous to remove. I can show you there's a little lever here. So flip that and then the dovetail, you can take it out. There.
The NEB is very
really
much,
cool.
Like a broadcast.
It's all adjustable. Now the viewfinder connects with USB-C. That's a really good idea because USB-C has both power and really high-speed data. So it's a simple, thin cable.
Looks awesome.
And it has the USB locking screw, so the cable won't come out. Now on the front, we've got all film connections. So I think if I can show you that there, you can see that shot there. It's got a 7-pin LEMO, external connector. It's a serial connection with 24-volt power and start and stop information. And that's for the camera control for focus motors. And it's also got a 3-pin Fisher RS connector with 24-volt power output. And that connector also has a pin to trigger the recording start and stop as well. So that's great for hand grips.
Everyone
so there's 2 base plates to choose from.
How much is this going to cost?
And they work with all the standard dovetail plates. There's the 90mm base plates included with the camera that also does 15mm. But we have a dedicated 15mm plate as well. Plus we've designed a whole bunch of accessories designed for the camera. This includes the viewfinder, the top handle, rails, shoulder mount, battery plate handles, everything. And the accessories have all been designed in the same style as the camera.
Oh, those handles are nice.
So let me show you the side here. So the buttons are all backlit now. They don't make a sound when they're pressed, they're quiet. Now the external monitor here is now a color LCD, and there's a 5-inch LCD that fully rotates and folds back into the camera. So let me show you that. So you can see the screen there. It rotates, and it also folds back into the camera like that. So you see it's really cool. Now there's a high-speed memory module inside. You can see the memory module here. It's got basically cloud storage built in. You can remove it there. There it is there. Now this module's 8 terabytes inside, and there's 16 lanes of PCI Express going to this module, so it's extremely fast. And what it does, it eliminates all the problems with media cards. So let's check out the rest of the camera. I'll put this back in.
8 terabytes.
Now there's a rear mount. Let's go around to the rear side here, so you can see that there.
Wow.
There's a rear mounted USB-C for recording to external discs. Let me get a shot of that, is that okay? Now we've got 2 12G SDI video outputs, and they work in Ultra HD, so it means you can have 2 different monitors on set with different overlays on each monitor. Plus there's also a BNC timecode reference and sync input. So it's really great for syncing cameras on set.
On the other side of the camera.
We've also got high-speed 10G Ethernet, and it gives you really fast access to the internal storage. So basically it's like a cloud store access.
Of filmmaking
so what that means is you can plug a Davinci Resolve system into the camera and color grade on set from the media inside the camera. It's awesome. But it syncs extremely fast to Blackmagic Cloud because obviously it's 10G Ethernet. Now the power input supports both 12 and 24 volt operation, and it supports multiple battery plates from different battery systems. So let's have a look across the top of the camera if we can get a shot there. So we've got these dual antennas. It's got extremely high-speed Wi-Fi built into it. So it lets you upload media from the cameras in real time without being tethered. Plus it actually has built-in SRT live streaming. So what you can do is you can live stream to clients off-site and they can watch you shoot. And again, it's our dream camera. So let's check out the other side. Actually, I should turn it on. I haven't turned it on. Let's turn it on. Here's the power switch here. So It powers on very quickly because it runs Blackmagic OS. So what we can do is, I'll fold the screen in here. So we have this assist station on this side of the camera. Now we had this on the original URSA camera. It was really popular. So it's very nice to have it back. Now it has a sun shield here, so I can open up the sun shield. So it has that there. Plus you can remove it just by clipping it there.
That's really cool.
Now we've got quite a lot of new features on this screen. It includes the standard heads-up display plus menus. I can show you the menus. There it is there.
Cool.
But we also have a focus page.
For focus pulling.
So you can see it there. So it lets the focus puller see the lens and set markers, so we can add some markers.
Okay.
There. It's a bit hard to use from the other side. And so as we change the focus, you can use them to set focus points. There's also space on this screen to add a bunch of new things. We're going to work with film crews and some of the more high-end customers over the next few months to add a few more features into this assist screen. We think we can go a lot more further with it. But again, because it's used by high-end film crews, we want to make sure we work with people to finish those screens. But I think we've got a lot of flexibility on that side to add all kinds of interesting features. Now, across the top of the camera here, we have 2 more USB ports, and you can see them there. And what that does, it allows us to add like USB expansion for like third-party accessories. And so there's a lot of expansion on the camera. Now, let's talk about some of the camera specifications, because that tells you what basically it can do. Now, as I mentioned, it had extremely fast processing. The media module supports 4 M.2 cards, and each M.2 card in the module has 4 lanes of PCI Express to it, which means that with the 4 cards, you get 16 lanes of PCI Express in total, which means it handles massive resolutions and frame rates. Then with the 10G Ethernet, you can access the module basically as like a DIT card built into the camera. As for resolutions and frame rates, at 12K open gate at 3x2, recording at 12K by 8K, it's up to 80 frames a second. At 12K 70x9, which is 12K by 6K, it can record up to 100 frames a second. Then at 12K 2.4x1 widescreen, which is 12K by 5K, it can record up to 120 frames a second. Then at 8K open gate 3x2, it can record up to 144 frames a second. At 8K 17x9, it can record up to 180 frames a second. At 8K 2.4x1 widescreen, it can record up to 224 frames a second. And it can also do 9K 3x2 and 6x5 formats for like Super 35 4-perf.
That's insane.
So it gives you a lot of compatibility with a lot of spherical and anamorphic Super 35 lenses.
Probably a camera I
It can also handle like
need
9K 70x9 and 60x9 formats, which are similar to Super 35 3-perf.
Pretty cool stuff. I love the way
it can also do
this project.
9K 2.4x1, which is similar to Super 35 2-perf. So the large sensor can be scaled and cropped in a lot of different ways, so it's very flexible. Now for the post-production side of it, was one of the really important features of this camera. So we have the fast media module. We also have the fast 10G Ethernet on the back for upload of media from post-production. But the camera will also record HD resolution H.264 proxies. At the same time, it records 12K Blackmagic RAW. So it'll sync to Blackmagic Cloud using fast Wi-Fi or 10G Ethernet, and those proxies will go up really quickly. Now, the Blackmagic Cloud website will then distribute those files to everybody else in the post-production teams. Now, we have a 3-bay rack-mountable Blackmagic Cloud, media dock designed for editing and color correcting from those modules. So it means you can offload, the media card offload time is reduced because you can basically move the modules out of the camera and place the modules in the camera. So I think it'll be pretty cool. So it really is an amazing camera. I'd love to show you a quick video that we shot with it, and it sort of shows you the results you can get. Plus it shows you some of the behind the scenes action. We had 2 URSA Cine 12K cameras on this shoot. So let's play the video.
I think obviously the images aren't going to look as good as they might look, obviously, in front of your eyes through a double web stream going on here. But it's pretty awesome. Lovely. That's pretty cool. Look at the way that's handling that dynamic range in that scene. The image looks gorgeous. Very filmic. Said anything yet about how it handles things like low light. Looks like it's done a pretty good job. Once again, thank you so much indeed, guys, for hanging around and checking this one out for me. I still think you might have a couple more things you're going to talk about yet, so we'll stick it out and we'll wait for Grant to wrap things up, and then I'll even sum things up and let you get back to your evening. But if you're still here, thank you very much for watching. I really appreciate it. Again, if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, or if you're thinking about subscribing to the channel, certainly it's a great time to do it. And remember that there's lots of great Resolve tutorials that I'll be putting out soon. Not only have I got a few ready to go, I've got obviously to get to E19 to beta down so that we can actually start having a play with that and get some stuff. So again, stay tuned to the channel certainly, because we'll have some 19 review video content coming over the next 4 weeks, in the next month or so, as we look at all these new features and we look at the ones that will affect us most and best. And what I'd love to know from you guys as well, so connect with me on Instagram, connect with me through the YouTube comments as well, and let me know, please, which features you want to see, which features you'd like us to explore for you, and I'd love to check those out. Looking forward to doing some stuff like that. So I'm going to stick out just a bit longer, see what Grant's still got. He may still have some stuff for us. So, but again, thanks once again for supporting the channel and joining me, because it's great when you've got some people here to do these things with, rather than just here.
So as you can see, this is a revolution in high-end digital film. It's been specifically designed for this. There's been no expense spared in designing it. We really wanted to break ground in new technology, new sensor design, and post-production workflows. It's our dream camera. So it does mean it's quite a bit more expensive than you'd expect because it's such a high-performance camera. But it does come with a kit and a road case. It includes the top handle and the shoulder mount. It comes with a PL lens mount. It also includes a lockable EF lens mount. And it also does include an 8 terabyte media module. And there's also a battery plate installed. Plus there's an AC power supply installed as well, included as well. But you can change the battery plate to different battery systems if you like. So the new Blackmagic URSA Cine 12K will be priced at $14,995. So we're building the initial cameras now. However, this is a very high-end camera, so we'll initially ship to a small number of select DOPs. We want to make sure we spend a few weeks checking that we've got all the software features we need, plus all the film accessories work well.
That's a great
then we'll encourage production as we work with those high-end customers. We also have a separate kit that includes a viewfinder. So it's in a slightly larger road case and includes all the features that you get with the other kit, but it includes the viewfinder and all the viewfinder mounting hardware. Plus it includes the USB-C cables. And there's two different lengths, like options for mounting the viewfinder. The one we've got here, plus an extension arm, like a long extension arm that extends out if you want to move the viewfinder away from the camera.
That camera.
Now this kit is called Blackmagic URSA Cine 12K plus EVF, and the cost for this kit will be $16,495. But the viewfinder can be purchased separately for $1,695. Plus, there's a whole lot of other accessories available for the camera.
When you look at
includes battery plates and handles and grips and lens mounts. And all these accessories have been designed to match the URSA Cine style. So it's really an amazing camera. It's just incredible to shoot with. I can't wait to take one out for myself and just have some fun with it. Now we've also, I mentioned just before that we built a media dock for the URSA Cine. It's very similar to a Blackmagic Cloud dock, but those are SSDs and U.2 discs. But this dock can handle 3 URSA Cine media modules. So let me show you. I'll bring the product out.
That's really cool. I mean, yeah, I'm not necessarily going to run out right away and spend sort of near circa $16,000 on a camera at the moment.
There it is. You can really see how nice it looks. Let me check at the back.
But I do think that is pretty amazing.
And it's quite
you're
similar
getting
to
a lot
the
of camera there for that money.
there.
Wow.
It's quite similar to the Blackmagic Cloud Dock. You get dual internal power supplies with redundant AC connections, and the storage, can be the core of a whole post-production system. So you really need those redundancy power supplies to make sure it stays up. You get 4 10G Ethernet connections for connecting workstations. Normally you'd connect one to an Ethernet switch, but having 4 means it makes building a DOT cart much easier. And you can also connect one to the internet. And another port could be connected to a Davinci for on-set grading. So having 4 ports is really useful, I think. Plus there's a USB port for upgrades. And our Blackmagic Cloud Store monitoring display output is on there as well. So you can see all the cloud, you can see the storage status, which is really nice. So let me show you how it works. So I'll bring it around here and I can connect some power. So if you can get a bit of a shot of the front there, you'll see the media modules can be read by the dock when I plug the power in. So you can see there the fan spins up and it'll then start to talk to the modules.
That's pretty cool stuff.
Now it's booted, so it's running Blackmagic OS, so it booted really quickly, now it's gone quiet again. So you can see the modules will then get checked out and then they're available over the network. So to remove a media module, they're really easy. You just click the little line there and the module comes out. In fact, what's really happening when you open that, it brings the module offline. As soon as you click that, the module goes offline and all the storage disconnects from it so that they can be pulled out safely. And then when I plug it back in again, then just click it back in and you'll see the lead ring illuminate as it accesses the media module. So it's checking the media and mounting it over the network. And so now anyone can connect to it. Now the lead ring is green for read and red for write. And this media dock's really useful to have. It means the media can be accessed immediately. Even though URSA Cine has 10G Ethernet, you can plug your camera into the network and access all the media on it. Like this is the cloud store. Having the dock is much more practical. It makes it much easier to back up the modules because it's so incredibly fast. Now this new Blackmagic media dock will be priced at $1,995. It's starting production, so it should be available in a few days. We also have a cover for the Blackmagic media module, which I'll bring out. I might turn the camera off. There's no point wasting power. So it allows you to protect the media module when it's in transit.
That's cool. Feels like it's going back to the old school days of
the module.
Kind of tape.
They cost only a few dollars. And that'll be included with the Blackmagic. It includes, the cover's included with the module when you buy the module. And we have both 8 terabyte and 16 terabyte versions of the media modules. In fact, the Blackmagic media module 8 terabyte will cost $1,695, and that's pretty much available now. There'll also be a Blackmagic media module 16 terabyte version that'll be available soon. However, as I mentioned, all the URSA Cine cameras include a Blackmagic media module 8 terabyte with them, so you can start shooting immediately.
I love that.
Now, there is something else about URSA Cine I wanted to tell you about. We've been working on an even more advanced sensor. It won't be available until the end of the year, but I think it'll sort of explain what a technical advance URSA Cine really is. So let me show you. It's I'll bring it out.
Here's something else.
It is here.
Oh.
There it is there. In fact, I'll get the current 12K camera sensor. So if you can get a shot there. There it is. So it's a 17K sensor. And that's the current 12K sensor for an URSA Mini Pro. Now it's a full 65mm in size. So you can see it there compared against the original sensor. You can really see how big it is. Now it's 50.808 millimeters by 23.316 millimeters. It's a similar size as a 70mm 5-perf film. It has the same photo sights as the new full-frame 12K sensor. So this larger size means the sensor is 17K. Its resolution is actually 17,520 pixels by 8,040 pixels.
Wow.
It has 16 stops of dynamic range.
Weird.
So let me show you how the camera. I'll bring it out. Here it is.
The URSA Cine
there it is
17K.
There. It's called URSA Cine 17K. I'll turn it on.
What kind of computer system are you going to need to run stuff?
So you can see it's very similar to the 12K, but the 12K was designed to handle the 17K speed. So both of these models were developed at the same time. So it's pretty cool. It's got such a large sensor, we need some new lens mounts. So we have the LPL and the Hasselblad lens mounts. And URSA Cine 17K will include both. Let me take off the lens so I can show you the sensor. Well, I probably should turn it back off again. So take off the back box, and you can see down into the sensor.
Hopefully you can still hear the sounds. Yeah, we can.
The sensors there.
I tell you what, this is some phenomenal stuff. It's not necessarily stuff that I'm going to necessarily need to use, but I'd love to have a play with it. So,
yeah.
Wish I was going to NAB.
You can see that there. You see
12K
very large
and
sensor.
17K.
Now, this model
URSA
doesn't
Cine
have
cameras.
ND filters built in because the sensor's so large, the filters don't fit. Otherwise, the features are the
If
same.
you've just joined the stream, give us a like.
So it's an amazing camera.
Really means a lot. Thank you, guys.
Now, it won't ship until close to the end of the year because the lead times are so long, and we're still working on tweaking the software. But I think it'll be really exciting to shoot with it. Imagine if every film could be shot in IMAX-style resolutions without it being a complex process. And that's our dream, is to make high-resolution shooting really easily. Yeah, we're on the verge of a whole new viewing experience for customers. You know, I don't know why cinemas still use projectors. I think they should use high-resolution LED screens. It'd be a lot better. So I think as far as cost goes, we're not exactly sure what the price of this will be yet. It'll obviously be a lot more than the 12K model, but we should know more towards the end of the year what the price is. Okay, so now I'd like to come back to more portable cameras. So we have another new camera today. So recently we launched the Blackmagic Cinema Camera 6K, and it was very well received. The image quality is really nice, and it's very affordable.
This could be interesting.
But it wasn't the only camera we're designing. The Blackmagic Cinema Camera 6K is really the sort of low-cost handheld model, but we're also working on another model. Now it's called Blackmagic Pyxis 6K. Let me show you.
What does this look like?
It's a box or a cube camera style. It has the same image sensor and color processing as the Blackmagic Cinema Camera 6K. So both cameras can be used together on a shoot because they'll absolutely match perfectly. I mean, all the cameras can match really well, but they're actually the same sensor. Otherwise, it's actually quite a different camera internally. It's very customizable. It's also a full-frame digital film camera, but in a box-style design. It's got a 24 by 36 millimeter 6K sensor, and includes an optical low-pass filter as standard, and the optical filter's been tuned to match the sensor. So it's really cool. Now it has a wide dynamic range of 13 stops. It has 2 CF Express cards for storage. It also has Ethernet, so it can sync to Blackmagic Cloud, and it also records Blackmagic RAW with H.264 HD proxies. So let's have a look at some of the details. Now I have a rigged version here, so I'll move this aside and bring up the rigged one.
People who have things like the red Komodo,
so you can see it's fully compatible with all the URSA Cine accessories. So it's really cool. It has everything for high-end or low-end work. Like you can do high-end films, you can do independent films, music videos, documentaries. It's just fantastic. It's an amazing design. It's all machined actually from aircraft-grade aluminum. That means it's really strong when you got things mounted on it. And it has these flexible side plates for different accessories, which is an incredibly adaptable design. So let me show you the front.
How cool is that? That's a wicked-looking little piece of kit. I bet this is going to be affordable, you know.
You can see there. So you can get down in there and have a look. It's got a great sensor. It's full frame 35mm, open gate 3x2.
So
it allows really shallow depth of field. So it's got the full height for anamorphic. The sensor resolution's 6048 by 4032. So it handles a lot of different film formats. It's got the 13 stops of dynamic range. So it preserves a lot of shadow and highlight detail. It's got the color Generation 5 color science, which has got really rich cinematic images, plus a 12-bit camera encoding for wide dynamic range. It's really nice. It's got a real natural film response to color adjustments, accurate skin tones. It can shoot up to 120 frames a second when it's windowed. It's got 2 native ISO settings there, 400 and 3200, and you get up to 25,600 ISO. So it's even very clean when you're shooting in low light. So I'll put the lens back on.
I like the fact that the screen's on the side. We had a red Komodo, and it was on the top.
So the front has the USB-C for the viewfinder, and there's also a mini XLR audio input there, if you can get a shot there, for phantom power. Plus you can plug, it's a microphone input with 48 volt for phantom power, plus you can plug the microphone in there. Now let's check out the other side of the camera here. You can see it's got the LCD, it's got a 4-inch touchscreen, so the camera runs Blackmagic OS. So let's use all the features in Blackmagic OS, and it's the same size LCD as the URSA Mini Pro, but it's brighter, so it's better in daylight. It even has 3D lookup tables, which also come on the monitoring out. It has a heads-up display for status and record parameters, and you can touch the controls to adjust them. It also has a digital slate, so you can tag files with metadata for post-production. But there's also a bunch of direct controls on the side there for all the important controls, such as a dedicated button for ISO, white balance, and shutter. Plus, there's also a scroll wheel for iris adjustment, which is really useful. So an LCD is great, but all these controls can be used by feel, these menu controls, so they're really nice to have. There's also some custom assignable function keys in there as well. And you can set those buttons up for whatever functions you like. It's all done through the menus. And of course, there's the big, large red record button. Plus, there's buttons for high frame rate, focus zoom, and grabbing stills and accessing the menus as well. So it's really cool.
Well, I just got a grabbing
Actually,
still
I'll turn it
button.
on.
That's pretty cool. I think we had that before. I think in the
the
other
back there.
cameras. Incidentally, this is the 6K
I can bring the menus
Pocket
up.
cinema camera that I'm using here, not the cinema one. That's the full frame one, but the Micro Four
see?
Thirds one.
So you can see the menus. You can get a shot of that there. Now, on the other side, we have these custom side plates there. And if I can grab one of the guys could bring over the cheese plate one. Now, the camera's designed to be rigged, so we're never really quite sure. Cool, thanks. Didn't get this here. So you can see you can change the side plates. There's
That's cool.
a riggable one. So we're never really quite sure
nice.
how people
So
are
you
going to
can
use
have a
it. So we've
rosette.
designed a lot of flexibility in. So having these side plates, they can be changed, and you can get different types of
Appropriate.
plate. But they're really simple. I mean, people can machine their own. We'll probably have the spec of it in the manual, so you can machine your own versions of them. And we have plates with mounting points, and we have a plate that holds an external disc or a phone. We also have a plate with a rosette, this one here, for mounting like a side handle. And we include some plates with the camera. So we'll check out the back now, if we can get
That's
another
quite cool.
shot from there. You can see there's a wide range of connections on the back. It has USB-C on the back. That lets you record to an external disc. It has 12G SDI for on-set monitoring. Obviously, SDI is better than HDMI because you can run the longer cable lengths, and the monitoring output has the dedicated overlays, if you can get those there. There's also a sync timecode and reference input, so it allows you to sync the camera on set. And there's a 1G Ethernet connection, so you can access the CF Express cards, and they actually look like network storage. So you can connect, like you could connect Davinci and Grade out of the camera, or you can connect it to the internet and get really fast media sync to Blackmagic Cloud. Now you can plug a phone into the USB and also use mobile data. And the Ethernet supports REST APIs for camera control as well. Now, if you look there, we also have a cinema-style DC power connection. There's also some connections on the other side of the battery there. So there's a 3.5mm video camera style audio input. That's for low-cost microphones. There's also a headphone jack for monitoring. Now we'll talk about the media. It supports 2 CF Express cards, and they're protected by these dust covers here. So it allows continuous recording, so you can hot swap the cards while you're recording. CF Express is fast. It handles the 12-bit RAW files from the camera, but you can also use the USB-C for external discs. And it includes Davinci Resolve with the camera as well. Now, the batteries are these BPU series batteries. They're really common and available. They can get quite large. Some of these batteries can get really big. They get longer as they get larger, so the design can handle that because they're mounted in the back like that. And you can get over 3 hours on the largest battery. Now, the camera also includes a media browser on the side, so you can browse media and upload to Blackmagic Cloud. You can sync to Blackmagic Cloud, so you can share media globally with Davinci Resolve users. It records proxies and Blackmagic RAW at the same time, so it'll sync the proxies first, so the post-production team get the media almost instantly. And you can, if you select the Davinci Resolve project on the camera, you can record and essentially sync right into the bin. So as you shoot, the shots are actually arriving in the Davinci workstations right in the bin from the editors. So that's never been possible for us. So it's really cool. It's very amazing, and it's constantly syncing. So even from multiple cameras. So you just need to connect the internet or a phone for mobile data to the camera, and you can start uploading Blackmagic RAW files or the proxies or both. So it's really cool. The other thing it does is it supports live streaming. So you can live stream to your clients. They could watch the shoot live anywhere in the world. So you just got to connect a 5G or a 4G phone. And there's also a streaming status indicator on the LCD. So it includes the data rates. It shows you what's going on with the stream. And you can stream to platforms like Obviously, or you can stream to the ATEM streaming bridge, because the ATEM streaming bridge can basically drive a TV for the client, and it'll convert the live stream back to video. So imagine the post team watching the shoot live. I think it'd be really cool. Also, it's a professional camera, so it's got a time code generator built in. That's what the dedicated BNC input's for. It can sync the camera and hold the time of day. So as the cameras are moving around and starting and stop recording, they'll all get accurate time code. Then you can bring in all the cameras together in the new multi-source feature in Davinci and edit all the clips. It also includes Bluetooth control, so you can download our Bluetooth app or build your own apps for like iOS or Android apps, things like that. It also includes a free SDK. Now, the new Blackmagic URSA Cine viewfinder obviously supported, and the top handle you can get from the URSA Cine as well as the same top handle. So it's really quite cool. Those accessories look great. So it's an amazing high-end viewfinder. It just looks so good on this camera, and it's a micro OLED display. It's really high resolution. So, and it connects to the front here with the same USB cable, and it powers from the camera. But there's a whole heap of different accessories that work with this camera. So there's mounting points everywhere.
The viewfinder's
so you
a
can use
little
it
bit
in
better than the
1,000
one
different
that
ways.
they have
pretty
out
cool.
for the pocket
So I
cinema
think this is an
camera.
amazing camera with so many features. It fully integrates into the whole post-production process. So the new Blackmagic Pyxis 6K will be priced at $2,995.
Holy crap!
However, there's actually 3 models of this camera. So I'll show you. I'll just move them aside. I'll put this one over here.
Wow.
So we also have an EF lens mount model.
Dollars, sorry.
That's it here.
An EF model as well.
And so this is a locking EF mount. So you can
cool.
use regular and cinematic EF lenses. And the EF mount model will also be $2,995.
That's awesome.
But we also have a PL mount model as well over here. And this is a high-end, this is for high-end cinema lenses. And it can read the lens data from the PL mount as well. So it gives you a lot of creative choice.
Cool.
So it's really cool. Now the PL mount model will be a little bit more. It's $3,195. Okay. So those prices are excluding duty. So obviously they can vary a little. Now the new Blackmagic Pyxis cameras will be available in June.
That's awesome.
So we do have one more thing. We have a new color panel for Davinci Resolve. Now we wanted something a bit more portable than the current micro panel, and also something a bit more affordable. And also we have the iPad version of Davinci Resolve now, so we needed sort of something that was a good solution for the iPad.
Like a
so we built that
panel.
product. It's called the Davinci Resolve Micro Color Panel. Let me show you. I'll bring it out.
Micro color panel.
There it is there. So we can get a shot of that.
Look at that.
It's got really nice trackballs. We've spent quite a lot of time researching trackballs because we wanted to make them as small as we could, but they had to be very usable for like hours a day. And these are really nice. They've got a really smooth motion. I can remove the ring.
Do you know what? If you've got a small...
You can see that, you know, that's how they work. There's the ball there, and there's a proper bearing.
If you've got a small
it's got a really nice
setup,
bearing for the incredibly smooth
and
rotation. It's
you're
not
using the
like bits
iPad
of plastic.
version,
It's, you know, a proper roller bearing with a special
nice
lubricant in
little
it.
panel.
And it costs a lot more, but it's incredibly smooth. And that's important because, you know, it might be small, but this has got to be professional.
A lot of feature buttons on the sides. I'm noticing.
Now, it's got the same nice primary corrector knobs along the top, and they're machine metal mechanisms under the knobs, so they're very precise, and it's great for fine adjustments. We also have an all-new button layout. Now, the buttons are a hard plastic now with a scissor mechanism, so they're really nice. They feel much better than the older silicone buttons, so much better, actually. So let me show you how it works, but you need to hold on a sec. I just need to go and change to the color page, and also probably need to turn off the keyer. So I'll just pop down here, and
I think that's awesome. I think if you're excited by that, if you're doing any kind of grading, I mean, I've got the large mini panel on my desk.
Now the panel's Bluetooth, so you don't need a connection. I've already connected to this computer, so it just works even from down here. So I can use the trackballs to change the colour, so you can see.
If you're watching this and you're excited by that panel, let me know, because that sounds pretty cool, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's obviously going to work very similarly to
Now I can also
panels that we've
use the
seen before.
reframe shots on the keyboard as well. We have shift up and shift down buttons, and these add extra features to the buttons, but they also they change the state of the trackballs. So for example, I can press and hold the shift down and use the trackballs to adjust the framing. So there's a shift down there, and then I can do framing.
I love that. What a great feature that is.
And I can even do the aspect ratio.
Oh my God.
And rotate. It's pretty cool.
I might have to get my credit card out.
And so the gain trackball does the size and position, the gamma trackball does the rotation. So we can also adjust the power window with the trackball. So let's add a window.
That's a really neat feature.
Add a window there. And then I can press and hold the shift up key and use the trackballs to adjust the power window. Now the gain trackball does the size and position, and the gamma trackball does the window aspect ratio.
But I reckon what we're going to see is...
So I can change the shape of the rotation.
Technology
change the shape.
build into a mini panel, and then maybe, almost certainly I would imagine an advanced panel at some point will have some of this new technology.
Cool. So it's really nice to use. And what's really exciting is it's localized. So we've actually added multiple languages. So initially we'll have English, French, Spanish, German, Italian, Portuguese, Korean, Japanese, Chinese, Vietnamese and Thai.
Just a few.
And we'll add a few other languages after that. So let me show you one of those panels.
I'm trying to think what else is left.
We've got a Korean one here. So you can see, if you can get a bit of a shot of that, you can see an example of how it looks when it's localized. So it's a very powerful panel.
What a great company. So
and you
global,
can put this slot on the back as an
everything
iPad.
they do. That's
so
amazing.
Cool. So I don't think we had an iPad. So I think it'll really help freelance colorists. It's so portable.
That's so
So
cool.
this new Davinci Resolve micro color panel is $495.
Wow.
So the English model is available now, and the other languages will ship in a few weeks' time. Oh, we do have an iPad. Cool. Thanks. So you can see I can put it in the slot here.
Okay, come on.
iPad.
We've got to get some lights
connects
of
to the
that.
iPad with
That's
Bluetooth.
amazing.
Cool. Okay, lastly, we have some new prices for Video Assist. So recently we've been working really hard on reducing the cost of these. We have so many cameras that support Blackmagic RAW now with Video Assist, so reducing the prices will be really helpful. And then more people can use Blackmagic RAW, plus all the other great features in Video Assist, such as the monitoring and the recording and the scopes, plus the focus and framing tools. So now the 5-inch model of the Blackmagic Video Assist 3G was $525, and now it'll be $325. The Blackmagic Video Assist 3G 7-inch model was $765. It'll now be $565. And the 5-inch 12G model was $795, and that'll be $595. And the 12G 7-inch model was $995, and that'll be $795. So that's a $200 saving across all those models. I really love Video Assist. It's such a handy product. It's so useful. I mean, I use it all over the place.
I'm using one right now.
It's just a general monitor and scope, but it's fantastic with cameras, particularly the new Pyxis camera. It's going to be awesome with that. So these new prices will be online and available today.
So I'm not sure if the small.
So that's about all for this update. Sorry it's a bit long.
Well done, Grant.
It's so long I was worried I might have to go and stop and for a moment and have a shave. So look, I hope everyone can travel to Las Vegas and see all these new products working. We'll have them on display and operating.
Bravo, Grant.
It's been very exciting working on these new technologies.
Everybody involved.
It's a privilege to be able to do it. And I want to thank everyone at Blackmagic Design for all the hard work they've done on all these new products and the software updates, because there's a lot of software updates coming. But everyone's really excited to see what you guys think. And okay, so I'm kind of nervous. We never really quite know how it's going to go until we show people the new products. Anyway, thanks for watching, and please travel safely if you're heading to the show. And take care and bye for now.
Grant, amazing, amazing. Cool. Let me just switch back over, guys, quickly to me. Amazing. Thank you guys so much for sticking around. We had a bumper update there. I mean, that's 2 hours of live stream. I'm going to leave the live stream up for a little bit, hopefully. I had a video planned for this evening, and I'm trying to get into a Friday release pattern now. So actually what we'll do is the one I had released or was planned for release today, I might shelve because we've done this live stream instead. But I'd love to know in the comments, guys, what you're thinking when it comes to those new updates that we've had. I mean, there was a lot of broadcast stuff early on, a lot of the sort of the rack systems and stuff like that. I'm not sure if a lot of you guys are looking at that stuff and are interested in that stuff. But I think certainly the things that stuck out for me were obviously the new cameras, and that Pyxis 6K full frame at just under $3,000 is unbelievable. That's going to be a really interesting camera, and I'm sure we'll see a lot of people adapting that, even in a very low end sort of workflow and stuff, right? So that's pretty cool. And obviously Davinci Resolve 19, big announcements there. We've got Davinci Resolve 19. The public beta is going to be available. I haven't checked yet if it's available already. Maybe if someone is able to just quickly check and just check if that's even available now. Again, remember, please just make sure that if you are going to update to the public beta, it is going to be a beta still, so there's going to be a few things that aren't necessarily quite right, but Blackmagic Design are pretty good at sorting those things out pretty quickly. Sorry for that high pitch beep again, but I've got a really cool video coming out next week. Well, we'll be maybe next week now. I'm toying with the idea of I can get it released before then, but if not, and that's about how we can actually make your vocals stand out. So you've got music and you've got background music and dialogue, and you want to have this nice powerful music, but not necessarily just turn it down just to sort of have it fitting in the background, because it has a little bit of a disconnect and you lose the emotion of the piece. So that's a video that's coming out really soon. There's a really cool editing trick I've got for that. Hopefully you'll really enjoy that one. So that's going to come out very soon, so stay tuned for that. And of course, Davinci Resolve 19, what do you think? I think there were some big ones in there. I think particularly in the Fairlight page, that some of the AI tools and how they're going to work on Fairlight were pretty awesome. I love the new addition with the vector slices within the color page were pretty cool as well. And obviously the new tracking features, again, interested to see how they work, because the tracking in Davinci Resolve has always been very, very good. So to have that made better still by AI is going to be again pretty incredible. And some other nice things that I saw in the edit page as well. There's quite a few things actually, so I need to go away, take a deep breath and get my thoughts on that one. But certainly let me know if there's any particular comments and stuff you'd like to see. Again, please connect with me on Instagram. Please connect with me on the YouTube channel, of course, as well. Use this video to feedback to me if there's anything that you saw that stuck out that was interesting. I think we need to give Daria Fasoon a little bit of a round of applause for her excellent video. She's one of the master trainers, and she's absolutely fantastic. I've taken her I've had her instruct me and mentor me at times as well. So Daria's fantastic, and really delighted to sort of be associated in some way. So that's grand. And we've got a giveaway coming as well. I mentioned we had a giveaway coming. We're going to do a live draw. I will be giving away a few things. I've got a Wacom tablet to give away. I've got my speed editor I should be giving away as well. So they're really cool. They've not had a huge amount of use. I couldn't get used to the tablet. So the Wacom tablet is almost hardly used. So that's certainly going to be a cool prize to win. We've got some Resolve Studio licenses as well to give away. I'm going to be doing some one-to-one training. So again, there'll be some opportunities to have some one-to-one training if that's something you quite like the sound of, and some other cool stuff as well, right? So again, thank you ever so much for supporting the channel, guys. I really appreciate it. And I think that's everything for now. Stay tuned for the giveaway announcement. We'll do another live stream for that, which will literally be coming on, doing a live stream. We're trying to get to the 15,000 mark now, although this live stream and giveaway was actually designed to celebrate getting to initially 13,000. But obviously we've been a bit busy and tied up, and you guys have been amazing supporting the channel, and we've got closer to 15 actually. So it might be a 15k giveaway in the end, who knows? But I greatly appreciate all of your help and support. I love being able to bring all this stuff to you. Thank you ever so much for your fantastic comments as well, because when you're taking crap in the other parts of your life sometimes, and people sort of beating you down on prices and deadlines and stuff like that, it's lovely to see some really nice comments and people being very appreciative. So I'm grateful for that. So thank you so much indeed. It really is a pleasure to be able to bring you guys videos that you like to watch, and hopefully it helps you. So thank you so much indeed. I'm going to wrap up, I think, now, but until I see you next time, guys, stay safe, enjoy your weekend if we've got a good weekend planned, and I'll see you very soon. Okay.